Beloved students of truth, let us now turn our minds away from the world of appearances and listen with the inner ear, for what I am about to reveal is not of man but of divine mind. There is a method simple yet sacred that has opened the way for many to receive sudden supply, miraculous provision, and yes, even the winning number drawn forth by the invisible hand of spirit. This method is not of chance nor human probability. It is not gambling when done in the consciousness of God. It is obedience to the divine lead. When aligned with the infinite, even the smallest gesture becomes a channel for overflowing riches. Many have asked, can the laws of prosperity truly touch the numbers drawn in a lottery? And I say unto you, it is not the number that matters, but the spiritual atmosphere in which it is conceived. The number is but a symbol. The real substance lies in the invisible realm of prepared blessings. For the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. When you walk in the light of spiritual understanding, even the thing called luck bends to the rod of faith. There are no coincidences in divine mind. There is only law, perfect, impartial, always working. As you sow, so shall you reap. The one who sows doubt reaps delay, but the one who sows faith, vibrant, expectant, unwavering, reaps immediate manifestations. So when one holds the idea of a lottery win not with grasping, not with fear, but with a holy detachment and knowing, it is as good as done. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. I have spoken to many who have found themselves guided, almost mysteriously, to purchase a ticket on a certain day, from a certain place, with a calm knowing in their hearts. They were not chasing, they were obeying. They were not trying, they were trusting. And lo, the heavens opened, and their names were written on the scroll of abundance. Let us not belittle any channel through which God may choose to bless us. The Spirit needs only an obedient soul, a cleansed consciousness, and a faith that calls the invisible into form. For God works in unexpected ways, His wonders to perform. One may be led to receive in the most surprising form a dream, a whisper, a delay that becomes a divine setup. I now speak the word, there is nothing too wonderful to happen. I dwell in the atmosphere of miracles. My good now bursts forth from the invisible into the visible. The channels are prepared. The way is clear. I am open to sudden increase. It is mine by divine right. The world may scoff. The intellect may rebel. But the Spirit rejoices. For to the faithful all things are possible. And to those who prepare the soil of their consciousness, the harvest is certain. The method I will unfold in the coming moments is not to be taken lightly, for it is built upon the very laws that govern the stars. It is a method sanctified by trust and sealed by surrender. Let the doubter depart. Let the scoffer close the door. This teaching is not for the profane, nor the curious onlooker. It is for the sincere student who has prepared the altar of the heart and is ready to receive, not by toil, but by trust, not by striving, but by speaking the word in authority. I now prepare to receive. I now open the gates of supply. The divine plan for my life includes all riches, all success, all joy. Nothing can stop the divine plan of my life. As we move forward, I shall reveal to you the method not hidden, but veiled until now. You will see how the invisible hand of spirit directs the outer conditions when the inner world is aligned. You will learn the precise way to invite, without force, to command, without fear, to win, without worry. This method is not man's, it is God's. And now, Let us walk gently, reverently, into the sacred unfoldment of truth, where the next step shall be shown, the method revealed, and the miracle made visible. Before the outward act is ever undertaken, before a ticket is ever purchased, or a number ever chosen, there must first be the inner preparation, the sanctification of the consciousness. Just as a gardener does not throw seeds upon dry, unbroken earth, so too must the field of the mind be tilled, watered, and made fertile with truth before the divine harvest may appear. The one who would win by divine law must not begin with numbers, but with spirit. The true lottery is first won within. I have seen it time and again. A soul, wearied by the world, yet willing to be taught by spirit, comes into alignment with truth and speaks the word. Not the word of want, nor the word of fear, but the word of authority. All that is mine by divine right now manifests. I am one with the lavish abundance of the universe, and as surely as the dawn follows night, the outer victory is drawn by the magnetic force of that inner decree. The great mistake of man is to believe he must manipulate the outer to achieve success. But the wise student knows, all causation is mental, the outer is but a shadow. The invisible substance of faith shapes the visible form of supply. To win by divine method, you must first clear away the stones of doubt, the weeds of fear, the dust of resentment. No good thing can come to a consciousness clouded by anxiety, envy, or unworthiness. I now cast out fear. I now uproot every false belief. I am cleansed by the Spirit of truth. I am made new in Christ mind. My consciousness is a fertile field of divine ideas. There is no room for superstition in the divine method. It is not the lucky charm, the candle lit in desperation, nor the mindless repetition of numbers that brings forth the win. These are shadows without substance. The spiritual path is exact, and it is pure. The student of truth must see the lottery not as a gamble, but as a vehicle, one of infinite vehicles through which the divine may choose to bless. And only when the consciousness is cleansed of lust for gain and rests in the assurance of supply, shall the method work. When I say inner preparation, I speak of spiritual discipline, daily silence, right speech, forgiveness, praise. These are not merely moral suggestions. They are divine prerequisites. No thought of lack, no whisper of jealousy, no murmur of complaint may dwell in the consciousness of the one who would win by this sacred method. The law is exacting, but it is also generous. It gives to the faithful, the prepared, the expectant. I now speak the word. My thoughts are in order. My heart is pure. I walk in obedience to the law. I am ready to receive my miracle. Many times the answer is delayed not because God withholds, but because man is not yet ready. He has prayed with lips but doubted in heart. He has declared abundance yet feared the very wealth he calls forth. Divine mind cannot flow into a vessel already full of fear. The old must be emptied, the altar must be cleansed. Then, and only then shall the true numbers come, not from the intellect, but from intuition, not from desperation, but from divine direction. You may be led in a dream. A still small voice may whisper a date, a location, a name, or you may find yourself drawn, almost unconsciously, to the very place where your blessing waits. That is not accident, it is alignment. When the soul is right, the signs appear. When the inner is ready, the outer must obey. The method works, but only for the prepared. That is the first law. You cannot bypass divine order. You cannot trick or hurry spirit. You must become the thing you desire, not merely in words, but in vibration. The one who wins has already won within. I now prepare the inner altar. I sanctify my desires. I forgive all. I expect only good. It is mine by divine right, and it comes to me through prepared channels, in perfect timing, without delay. Let no man deceive himself. The work is not in the outer numbers, but in the inner nature. And once the inner is made right, the method begins to unfold, step by step, in ways the world cannot explain. You will see how divine intelligence organizes every detail, so that your foot lands in the exact place at the exact hour of your blessing. It is not magic, it is law. And now that the preparation has begun, let us walk onward into the mystery of the method itself, how it is spoken, how it is believed, and how it manifests without resistance or delay. When the inner field has been tilled and the old weeds of fear and doubt cast out, the student of truth must then step into their dominion, for every manifestation begins with the Word. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. To speak is to sow, and the Word, spoken in faith and backed by divine authority, becomes flesh. It becomes the winning ticket, the chosen number, the unexpected call, the appointed blessing. You must not speak aimlessly, nor with the idle tones of the world. The spoken word is a spiritual seed. It draws its likeness unto itself. The law does not mock. What is sent forth returns multiplied. The game of life is a game of boomerangs. Every word you hurl into the ethers returns with its kind. The tongue must be trained, sanctified, and consecrated to truth. For by your words you are justified, and by your words you are condemned. I now speak the word. The numbers are chosen for me by divine mind. The ticket is mine by divine selection. I am led to it without effort, without strain. The winning belongs to me by divine agreement. It is already done. To speak this word is not to beg, but to claim. The voice must carry the tone of finality, of spiritual ownership, for there is no power in pleading. Heaven responds not to anxiety, but to certainty. The moment you declare a thing with unwavering faith, you release the invisible substance of spirit to mold that form into manifestation. Let your words be few but rich with meaning. Let them be repetitions of truth, not superstition. The student who would win by divine law must not dilute their declarations with counterwords. Do not speak of losing, of delays, of what if, for these too are prayers in reverse. Each idle worry spoken aloud sets back the manifestation. Therefore guard the gate of the lips. Let only truth escape. I am the rich child of a loving Father. I do not chase, I magnetize. I do not grasp, I receive. My lottery win is not distant. It is done. It is not hidden. It is revealed. It is not luck. It is law. And if, after speaking the word, you feel the whisper of fear, cast it out quickly with praise. Say aloud, "Thank you, Father, it is done." Even before the ticket is bought, before the draw is cast, give thanks. For thanksgiving is faith in action. The soul that gives thanks before receiving knows it is already so in the invisible. You must speak to your subconscious as to a child, firmly, lovingly, with repetition. Each morning and again before sleep, declare divine substance flows to me in expected and unexpected ways. My lottery win is one of the channels. I am ready and receptive. I see it, I feel it, I rejoice in it now. Let not the mind wander to how, when, or through whom it shall come. That is not your concern. Your part is to speak the word and hold the picture. God's part is the performance. The divine blueprint unfolds without your control. Your only duty is alignment. The rest is certainty. Every time you affirm the divine right to receive, you build a bridge between the unseen and the seen. Each word becomes a beam of light upon that bridge, and soon, what was invisible crosses into form. The numbers are drawn. The ticket is called. The increase is yours. I now speak the word. It is impossible for me to miss what belongs to me by divine right. No force can delay it. No doubt can cancel it. My lottery win appears in perfect time, through perfect channels, under grace, in a magical way. So many have spoken words of power, then turned around and uprooted their own seeds with doubt. But not you. You are now a spiritual builder. You are constructing a channel for divine riches. Do not look to man. Do not look to circumstance. Keep your eyes on the word. And now that you have begun to speak with power and certainty, the divine blueprint shall begin to whisper its next instructions. Be attentive, for in the next unfolding, you will learn how intuition, God's still small voice, becomes your map, your compass, and your sacred guide toward the winning place and moment. Beloved, once the word has been spoken with power, and your thoughts aligned with truth, the next movement in this divine orchestration is silence. For after the declaration comes the direction, and direction comes not from logic nor calculation, but from the still small voice within. That voice is not loud nor hurried. It does not beg for your attention, but waits for your attunement. It is the voice of divine intuition, God's gentle whisper, guiding you to the exact path of your supply. Be still and know. Not know with your head, but know with your spirit. The Lord shall guide thee continually, said the prophet. Not sometimes, not if you are lucky, but continually. The lottery win, the specific numbers, the exact ticket, they are already written in the invisible. Your task is not to make them appear by force, but to listen until you are led. I now speak the word. I am divinely led at every step. I do not decide. I am directed. I do not push. I follow peace. I am under divine guidance now. The one who listens inwardly shall not be misled outwardly. The moment you release your attachment to the howd, the infinite begins to unfold the way. You may be walking through a street you've passed 1,000 times, and yet on that day, something within will say, "Go in here." Or you may dream a number, feel an urge to write something down, sense a pull toward a specific draw, a time, or a ticket. Do not reason it away. Do not delay. Obey immediately. Obedience is the highest form of faith. When your feet move in trust, the unseen prepares the stage. A student once told me she was led to purchase a ticket at a place she'd never been. She questioned it, doubted it, delayed. Days later, that very ticket won, but was sold to another. The supply was prepared, but she was not listening. She was deciding, not discerning. There is a vast difference between intellect and intuition. The mind calculates. Spirit reveals. The mind may say, "Choose these numbers. They are frequent winners." But the spirit may whisper, "These numbers, this day, this store." You must trust the whisper more than the wind. Divine direction is rarely loud, but it is always sure. I now speak the word. My ears are open to the voice of spirit. I hear with divine understanding. I trust the unseen over the seen. I am always in the right place at the right time. And when you hear, you must move. Do not wait to confirm with another. The guidance that comes to you is for you. Spirit does not give second-hand direction. The more you obey, the clearer the voice becomes. The more you hesitate, the more distant it grows. There is no fear in divine guidance. It comes clothed in peace. It may seem illogical, yet it will feel right. That is how you shall know. If confusion speaks, it is not spirit. If anxiety speaks, it is not spirit. The divine instruction comes in stillness, wrapped in certainty. It may be just one word, one number, one nudge, but it is enough. And once you act upon it, without doubting, without overthinking, you have entered into covenant with divine law. You have said, Father, not my will, but thine. And that is the vibration that parts red seas, moves mountains, and draws winning numbers into your hand. I now speak the word. I follow divine instructions without fear. I am a faithful servant of the law. I obey quickly. I receive joyfully. The path is prepared before me, and my good cannot be delayed. And when you obey the still small voice, you shall see the signs follow. The timing will be perfect. The location will be exact. You will look back and say, only God could have arranged this, because He did. And He always will. As we go forth, I shall show you how to hold the vision unwavering, once the steps are taken. For it is not enough to hear and obey. You must also anchor yourself in the vibration of already having received. You must now live in the win, even before it appears. That, dear student, is the next holy unfolding. Now that you have spoken the word and obeyed the voice, you must not return to old patterns of hoping, wishing, or doubting. For in the divine realm, the victory is already secured. What you seek is seeking you. What belongs to you by divine right is already finished in the invisible. Your task now is to live in the vibration of the fulfilled desire. You must wear the consciousness of the winner, breathe the atmosphere of abundance, and walk as one who has already received. This is the sacred art of spiritual embodiment. The outer world follows the inner image. As a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. You must not simply think of winning. You must think from the win. Feel the joy now. Feel the relief now. Feel the confidence, the freedom, the gratitude now. The body does not know the difference between an imagined state and a realized one when the feeling is true, and the subconscious, once it receives the picture clearly, begins its divine task of arrangement and fulfillment. I now speak the word. I live in the atmosphere of answered prayer. I feel the celebration. I walk in the reality of wealth. I dwell in the joy of fulfillment. It is mine now. It cannot be lost. See yourself receiving the message. See your hands holding the ticket. See your name written, your numbers called, your increase announced, and most importantly, give thanks. Not as a future act, but as a present expression. Gratitude is the perfume of faith. It fills the chamber of the soul with evidence. It says, I believe the word. I see the unseen. I rejoice in the invisible substance made manifest. Let your daily routine reflect your belief. Let your speech reveal no doubt. Let your countenance shine with expectancy. Even in moments when the outer seems unchanged, refuse to descend into fear. Declare, this is just the moment before the miracle. That statement alone will carry you over every temptation to give up. Miracles often happen at the edge of surrender, not surrender to defeat, but surrender to divine timing. The world may ask, have you won yet? And you may answer, in spirit, I have. In the visible it must now appear. Do not let the disbelief of others pollute your vibration. Their doubt has no authority in your world unless you accept it. The faithful soul walks alone if necessary, and knows that God plus one is the majority. I now speak the word. I refuse to waver. I do not check the evidence. I anchor the truth. My supply is as real as the sun, though clouds may hide it. I live in the wind. I breathe in the blessing. I am the victorious one, and do not make the mistake of trying to force the outcome. Do not buy tickets with grasping energy, or choose numbers with fear. Instead, allow each act to be an extension of your spiritual certainty, a divine nudge, not a frantic motion. You do not chase what is yours. You attract it. You do not cling. You claim. You do not worry. You worship. It is now, beloved, that you must rise into the embodiment of your desire. The mind may question, the body may waver, but the spirit stands firm, and that firmness is the rock upon which the harvest shall stand. There is no loss in divine mind. There is no competition, no delay, no mistake. What is yours will find you when you become the one who has it. I now speak the word. I am already the one who won. The numbers have found me. The ticket is in my hand. The joy has filled my heart. The wealth flows to me like a mighty river. Nothing can stop the divine plan of my life. As you live in this frequency, you shall begin to notice signs, synchronicities, nudges, confirmations. These are not to be worshipped, but recognized as footprints of the approaching good. And if the outer should test your faith, do not retreat, advance with your declaration. The win cannot be denied to the one who remains aligned. And now, as you dwell in the vibration of the fulfilled promise, we shall step into the next divine phase, the sacred release. For the final act of faith is to let go and let God. And in that holy surrender, the manifestation takes its final form. Now, dear student, having spoken the word, having followed the voice, having lived in the vibration of the already fulfilled, there remains one final act before the visible prize is placed in your hand. You must release it to God, not in fear, not in doubt, but in holy surrender. This is the sacred release, the divine letting go that seals the manifestation. For only when the seed falls into the ground and dies does it bear fruit, and only when the desire is given back to spirit does it return multiplied. Release is not abandonment. Release is trust. It is saying, Father, I have done my part, now I rest in yours. It is the final note in the symphony of faith. It is the silence after the decree, the stillness after the shout, the surrender after the obedience. You do not have to hold the desire in a clenched fist. You must open the palm of your soul and let divine mind take over. For when you let go of control, you make room for miracles. I now speak the word. I release all attachment. I do not demand. I delight. I do not force. I flow. I trust the divine plan with every breath. I rest in the fulfillment, knowing it is done. Many students lose their miracle in this step. They try to finish the manifestation with their human strength. They speak the word, but continue to chase. They visualize, but still worry. They affirm, but secretly ask, when, how, what if? This is not faith. It is fear dressed as devotion. The true student steps back and lets God step in. Divine law is already at work. The unseen gears have turned. The invisible hand is writing your name across the page of provision. Just as a letter once sent no longer needs to be held in your hand, your desire, once spoken in faith and prepared with spiritual integrity, must be released into the cosmic postal system of heaven. Trust that it is en route. Trust that it is signed, sealed, and delivered. Trust that it shall arrive not 1 minute late. I now speak the word. It is done. It is finished. It is manifesting through divine timing, divine people, divine numbers, divine hands. I let go and I let God complete it. This is not passive. This is powerful. Surrender is not weakness. It is spiritual boldness. You are not giving up. You are giving over to the infinite intelligence that sees what you do not, that knows what you cannot, that moves through channels unknown to man. There may be delays, not in divine mind, but in man's readiness. Let not such moments shake you. Say instead, God's delay is not God's denial. I trust the time as I trust the source. Let each day be filled, not with striving but with sacred confidence. Go about your tasks with joy. Bless others, give generously, speak kindly, act as one who has already received. Do not cling to the outcome, cling to the source. When you trust God more than you trust the prize comes quickly, for you have made yourself a vessel, not a victim. I now speak the word. I release and rejoice. I trust and I triumph. My supply is now unfolding with effortless ease. My lottery win is in perfect circulation. It returns to me multiplied, under grace, in a miraculous way. Release also means you stop searching for signs. You stop asking for proof. You stop watching the draw with trembling hands. Instead, you rest. You walk on water. You laugh at the impossibility, because the spiritual blueprint has already been printed. The numbers have been spoken in the halls of heaven. The outcome has been written by the pen of the Most High. And even now, behind the curtain of time, the scene is being set. The clerk who will hand you the ticket is being guided. The draw that will call your numbers is being arranged. The press that will print your name is already being inked. What you thought would take years can arrive in a moment, if you will only release it completely. I now speak the word. The divine outcome cannot be lost. I no longer chase, I attract. I no longer grasp, I give thanks. I no longer control, I allow. My miracle is done, and now, in this holy release, we prepare for the final unfolding, the receiving. For what has been planted in truth and released in faith must now break through the soil of time and appear in form. Let us now step into the holy moment of visible demonstration. The final act of receiving is upon you. And now, beloved seeker of truth, we enter the Holy of Holies, the final step in the divine sequence, the sacred act of receiving. For what is declared in faith, aligned in thought, spoken with power, obeyed in guidance, embodied in vibration, and released in trust, must return full circle into the hands of the one who believed. This is not imagination. This is not fantasy. This is divine law fulfilled. The word has gone forth. It shall not return void. You are not waiting for the blessing. It has been waiting for you. And now, having prepared the soul's soil, the harvest has broken through. Just as the bud bursts into bloom, so too the miracle cracks through the veil of time and stands before you in form. Do not be surprised. Do not shrink back. This is what you called for. This is what you claimed. This is what you allowed. Now you must receive. I now speak the word. The manifestation is here. The winning ticket is mine by divine right. The numbers match because God matched them. The increase is perfect. The wealth is real. I receive with grace, with humility and with holy joy. The one who receives must receive with open hands, but more than that, with an open heart. There must be no fear, no guilt, no shrinking. You must not say, "Why me?" but rather, "Thank you, Father, that it is so." You must receive as a child receives a birthday gift, eager, expectant, and with no sense of undeserving. For who are you to argue with God's generosity? You are not robbing another. You are not taking what is not yours. There is no competition in the kingdom of heaven. What is yours is marked with your spiritual name. It cannot be intercepted. It cannot be stolen. There is no loss in divine mind. The one who receives rightly knows, "This was always mine. I have simply awakened to it. Now is the moment to stand firm. Do not diminish the blessing by hiding it. Do not cloak your light in fear of judgment. When the manifestation arrives, let it be a testimony. Let it be praise. Speak of God's goodness, not of luck. Speak of divine timing, not of chance. Speak of the law, not of superstition. For you have not stumbled into wealth. You have walked into it by alignment. I now speak the word. My demonstration glorifies God. My wealth is holy. My win is righteous. My increase is a sign that divine law is exact, generous, and ever working on behalf of those who believe. And as you hold the evidence in your hands, be it a ticket, a number, a letter, a bank deposit, know this: it is not the end, but the beginning. The win is not the prize. The faith that brought it forth is the true wealth. This manifestation is but the first drop in an infinite ocean of supply. If one ticket can appear by spiritual law, then so can 100. If one door opens, then others shall swing wide. You must not limit the infinite. You must not stop the flow with your finite thinking. Let this be the sign that you are forever under the open windows of heaven. Declare it daily. Walk in it constantly. Let the wind be your confirmation, not your conclusion. I now speak the word. This is the first of many blessings. I am in a state of constant receiving. I am the open channel. I am the divine magnet. I am the beloved of spirit. The law of increase is written upon my path. Now go forward, not as one who hopes, but as one who knows, not as one who tries, but as one who trusts, not as one who waits, but as one who walks in victory. The game of life is rigged in favor of the fearless, the faithful, the surrendered. You have learned the method, you have lived the truth, you have witnessed the miracle, and so I say, it is done, it is sealed, it is yours, not by luck, but by law, not by chance, but by choice, not by force, but by faith. The divine has chosen you. Now choose to walk worthy of the wealth you have received. I now speak the word. Forever I dwell in the land of abundance. Forever I walk in the rhythm of miracles. Forever I give thanks for the method that works. The lottery is won. The law is fulfilled. The blessing is mine. It is mine by divine right, and nothing can stop the divine plan of my life. Amen. It was a curious instruction from Spirit, a whisper in the silence that stirred my soul one sacred morning. Give thanks for the thing you do not yet see. That was the strange trick. So simple, so childlike, and yet so mighty in power. I stood before an unopened door and acted as if it had already swung wide. I praised the invisible. I rejoiced in the thing not yet made manifest. I gave thanks for the winning ticket before the numbers were drawn. I saw myself in possession of what the world calls impossible, and I called it done in divine mind. For there is no time in spirit. What you seek is already yours, and what is yours cannot be withheld. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. And so I gave thanks for what I could not touch. That, dear student, was the strange trick, not a charm, not a game of chance, but the working of the word planted in the soil of unwavering belief. I now speak the word. My name is written on the winning ticket by divine right. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. I praise before I possess, I sing before I see, and I reap before I sow, for in spirit the harvest is already full. The subconscious, that faithful servant, hears only the vibration of truth. It takes my word and fashions it into form. I do not beg. I do not plead. I speak with the authority of one who knows her place in the kingdom. I am heir to the infinite, and my spoken word is the key that unlocks the storehouse of heaven. I write no number on slips of paper. I write my faith upon the ethers, and the ethers respond with form, for the field must answer the seed. Money is mine by divine right, and it comes to me in avalanches of abundance, from expected and unexpected sources in perfect ways. I did not chase the ticket, I chased nothing. I stood still and saw the salvation of the Lord. I aligned my soul with the rhythm of divine order. I refused to panic. I refused to doubt. I walked in the knowing that every supply I seek is already prepared for me on the path of obedience. I gave no power to appearances. I gave no energy to statistics, to odds, to worldly noise, for I know that infinite intelligence is never limited. I am not under chance. I am under grace. What others call luck, I call law, the law of prosperity, operating through the law of assumption, shaped by the law of faith. These laws are eternal and impersonal. They do not mock the dreamer. They deliver what is spoken with belief. I spoke as one who had received, and I walked in the echo of my own prophecy. And then it came, as quietly as the dew upon the grass. No trumpet, no fanfare, only the sweet unfolding of answered prayer. The numbers aligned. The ticket in my hand bore the mark of divine appointment. I laughed not with surprise, but with recognition, for I had seen this moment in the secret place. I had rejoiced in it long before the paper appeared. I had blessed the outcome before it wore the robe of form. And I knew the strange trick had worked, not because it was strange, but because it was truth in action. I had aligned with the divine current. I had stepped into the stream of the already done. Before they call, I will answer, and while they are yet speaking, I will hear. It was not chance. It was spiritual law fulfilled. And so I speak the word again, for you, dear student, for your dream, your desire, your divine portion. You do not wait in vain. You are not hoping in the dark. The seed is already planted. The field is already yielding. The supply is already flowing. Give thanks now, not later, not when the thing appears, but now, this moment. Thank the infinite for what your eyes have not yet seen. Say, I give thanks for my divine and timely increase. I give thanks for the doors that open without struggle. I give thanks that my wealth comes quickly, easily, and joyously under grace. For gratitude is the magnet. Thanksgiving is the miracle working force. When you thank before you see, you bend time and bring the unseen into view. Keep your vision clean. Keep your heart light. Do not look to man as your source. Look only to God, the giver of all good. The channel may change, but the source remains the same. Do not envy, do not grasp, do not struggle. Say only, Infinite Spirit, open the way for my immediate and endless supply. Let all that is mine by divine right now reach me in great avalanches of abundance. I walk in wealth, I live in overflow, I receive with joy, and I give in freedom. The world may call it strange. Let them. The world called Noah mad until the rain came. The world will always mock what it does not understand. But you, dear student, are not of the world. You are of spirit. You walk by faith, not by sight. You give thanks in the invisible, and the visible must obey. There is no power in fear. There is no substance in doubt. The only power is in the word rightly spoken. Speak not of luck. Speak of law. Say the divine design of my life now comes to pass. Doors open by unseen hands. I am led to the right ticket, the right time, the right moment by divine intelligence. I expect miracles. I walk in expectation. I live in the assurance that the universe is rigged in my favor. Let this be your rhythm. Let this be your song. Sing it daily. Praise in the waiting. Give thanks without proof. For faith is the proof, and what you plant with certainty must bloom in form. The strange trick is no trick at all. It is the ancient wisdom of the ages. Believe that ye receive, and ye shall have. I now speak the word. Divine intelligence guides me to the manifestation of every righteous desire. There are no accidents in divine mind. There are no missed appointments. Every event unfolds in divine precision, and the path of manifestation is paved with trust, not toil. As I continued in the vibration of gratitude, the air around me shifted. The ethers grew alive with response. I did not seek to control the method, nor force the manifestation. I simply held the vision, and I praised it as fulfilled. I became one with the answered prayer, and in that oneness the supply had no choice but to appear. The invisible must become visible when the vibration is sustained. What is spoken consistently with belief must come to pass. The word, once spoken in faith, is law, and law must be fulfilled. I said, my name is already written on the ticket. My number is already called. The wealth is already mine. I did not say this to convince the world. I said it to align with spirit. I whispered it in the stillness, shouted it in my soul, and rested in the knowing. I did not beg the universe. I commanded it through the authority of truth. The power that formed planets moves by my word when spoken in harmony with divine law. I did not demand. I did not grasp. I surrendered. And in surrender I received. I did not attach to outcome. I attached to obedience. I followed the hunch, the nudge, the divine prompting. Spirit always speaks, not with thunder but with whispers. And I listened. And when the impulse came, buy the ticket now, take the turn, say the prayer, I obeyed without fear, for I knew that obedience is the final step before the miracle unfolds. The field is already ripe, said the Master. Look not 4 months ahead. Look now. The harvest is now. What delays us is not lack, but lack of belief. The ethers hold no scarcity. The divine bank never closes. The treasury of heaven is bursting with supply, waiting only for your vibration to match your vision. So I gave no power to appearances. I gave power only to the word. I said daily, what is mine cannot be withheld. My supply is instant, constant, and abundant. I now receive unexpected money from unexpected sources under grace in perfect ways. And the word went forth. And the word became flesh. For the word is seed, and seed must become fruit when planted in faith. Do not fret over time. Time is a servant, not a master. In spirit there is no delay. Delay is but a test of your steadfastness, not a denial of your good. The test is always before the triumph. The resistance is always before the release. But if you faint not, you shall reap. So I rejoiced when it did not come, knowing that even delay is divine. I praised even in the silence, for I knew the echo was coming. I watered the seed with thanksgiving, and I stood watch, not with worry, but with worship. I walked in shops as if I had already received. I blessed my bank account with the numbers I desired. I did not mock the vision, I magnified it, and the vibration attracted the form, like draws to like, and wealth responds to joy. You must not ask for your good, you must claim it. What you do not claim, you delay, and what you doubt, you deny. I claimed the winning with my word. I sealed it with faith. I expected with joy. I rejoiced with praise. This is the way of the initiate. This is the law of demonstration. Whosoever shall say unto this mountain, Be thou removed, and shall not doubt in his heart, it shall be done unto him. I removed the mountain of disbelief, I cast it into the sea, and I walked in the clear path of manifestation. The strange trick was never strange to spirit. It is the eternal way. Speak it, praise it, walk as if, rejoice before. Give thanks now, and all things must align. The ethers must obey the voice of divine certainty, and so I say to you now, rise in faith, speak as one who already has, praise as one who already sees. You do not need the evidence, you are the evidence, you are the vessel through which spirit flows, you are the divine channel of supply. Say it now. I am rich by divine right, I receive wealth without worry, I expect large miraculous sums of money. I rejoice before I possess. Say it until your vibration rises. Say it until doubt dissolves. Say it until the thing appears, because it must appear. For the law is as within so without. The inner conviction is the outer confirmation. Keep the flame alive. Keep the song of praise on your lips. For the field is watching, and the field always answers the one who plants in joy and waters with faith. I now speak the word. My wealth flows freely, for I have released all blocks to receiving. The channels are open. The way is clear. I no longer question how the good shall come, for I know it must come. As surely as the sun rises, and the tide returns to kiss the shore, so too must my supply find its way to me. I have spoken the word, and the word is law. The moment I aligned with truth, the ethers began to move. Invisible hands began to arrange. Divine mind began to orchestrate, and the harvest began to ripen. I do not need to see movement in the outer. I feel the shift within, and when the feeling is fulfilled, the form must follow. I did not wait to feel worthy. I declared it. I did not ask for permission to receive. I stepped into possession, for I know that God is the giver, and the gift, and the giving all in one. The lottery ticket was never the prize, it was only the vessel. The true prize is the awareness of divine abundance flowing through all things. I no longer seek money, I radiate it. I no longer beg for supply, I become the magnet through praise. What is mine comes to me easily, freely, and joyously under grace in perfect ways. It cannot pass me, it cannot be stolen. It cannot be delayed when I am in alignment with divine order. I now cast out fear, for fear is the belief in two powers. There is only one power, and that power is God, and God is wealth, and God is love, and God is within me. So I dwell in security, I abide in peace. I know that the same power that created the stars also tends to my affairs. Not one hair falls from my head without divine attention. How then can I believe that something as simple as supply would be forgotten? I am not forgotten. I am not forsaken. I am known and loved by infinite intelligence, and my supply is tailor-made, prepared in advance, stored up for the appointed time. I walk into it with joy. I receive it with gratitude. I bless it as holy. The lottery ticket came not through striving, but through stillness. I became inwardly still and outwardly obedient. I waited until spirit moved me, and when it did, I moved with joy. I did not question the prompting. I did not second-guess the inner voice, for the inner voice is the voice of God, and when God says move, you must move, even if the world calls it foolish. I was led to the exact moment, the exact store, the exact action, not by analysis, but by intuition. And I obeyed with the swiftness of faith. I said, this is the moment I have been praising. This is the manifestation of the word I planted. I walked with certainty, not hope. For the word never returns void. It always accomplishes its assignment. You too must become still. You must hear that still, small voice. You must trust the nudge, the hunch, the sudden inner instruction that whispers, now is the time. It will never come with fear. It will never come with confusion. Spirit's leading is always peaceful, always sure, and when you follow it, doors open without effort. The crooked places are made straight. The supply flows like water, responding to the direction of your praise. Say now, I hear divine guidance clearly. I follow without fear. I receive without resistance. I live in divine rhythm. This is the way of miracles. This is the secret path, not through hustle, but through harmony, not through pressure, but through praise, not through gambling, but through grace. When you walk in divine order, all things are added unto you. You do not chase riches, you magnetize them. You do not seek luck, you radiate law. You do not need to strive, you simply align. And when you align, the universe bends to your faith. All matter responds to mind. All form obeys frequency, and the highest frequency is love, faith, and thanksgiving. I walked in these, and the ethers obeyed. And now I speak the same for you. You are on the divine path. Your good is already chosen. Your supply is already gathered. Your name is already written on that which you desire. Walk as though it were done, and it shall be done unto you. I now speak the word. What is mine by divine, right now rushes to me with unstoppable power, under grace and in perfect ways. The moment I removed doubt from my heart, the gates of manifestation swung open. I no longer questioned the timing, for divine timing is never early, never late. It is exact. It arrives when faith is full and fear is forgotten. The supply was already hovering in the invisible, waiting only for my unwavering belief to call it down. The ticket, the number, the money, it was never a matter of chance. It was a matter of consciousness. The field responded not to my desire, but to my declaration. I declared, this wealth is mine. It is on its way. I now receive it with joy, and the field obeyed. For the field always reflects the inner word. It does not question. It does not argue. It mirrors. Whatever you boldly plant with the spoken word, the field must grow. I had planted many words in past days, some filled with fear, some with uncertainty, and I reaped accordingly. But the moment I made the shift, the moment I spoke not from worry, but from wonder, not from panic, but from power, the seed took root in a different soil, the soil of certainty, and there, the miracle began. I did not entertain doubt, not even for a second, for I knew that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. I spoke with single vision. I looked only toward the good. I turned my face away from the world, and toward the Spirit, and Spirit answered. I said daily, Infinite Spirit, I trust you completely. I walk by faith, not by sight. I expect divine surprises today. I expect money miracles now. And the surprises came, not through struggle, not through schemes, but through the strange, sweet openings of divine design. I was led without force. I was guided without tension. I obeyed the inner pull, and it led me to the ticket that bore my increase. The increase was never in the numbers. It was in the knowing. The numbers were simply the garment worn by the invisible supply I had already claimed. And that garment had to appear, for the word had gone forth. The money did not change who I was. It revealed who I had always been, a child of the Most High, heir to a limitless inheritance. I do not possess the riches. They possess me. They come through me, not just to me. I become a vessel of overflow, a conduit of circulation. For what blesses one must bless all, and what I receive in joy I share in joy. My wealth is not just material, it is spiritual. It is the outward symbol of the inward truth that God is my source, and I shall never want. When you know this, nothing can shake you, not the opinions of others, not the calendar on the wall, not the delay in the mail. You begin to live in a new realm, a realm of assurance. You no longer wonder if it will come. You prepare to receive it. You no longer ask when. You rejoice as if it were already here. You walk into stores and feel no lack. You open your hands and feel no fear. For you have tapped into the truth. Supply is not earned, it is aligned with. And when you are aligned, the impossible becomes the inevitable. I ask you now, beloved listener, what seed are you planting? What word are you speaking? Is it fear or is it faith? Is it lack or is it love? The field is neutral, but the harvest is not. The harvest reflects your dominant word. Speak now with authority. I now speak the word. The doors of wealth open to me now, for I walk in the light of divine expectation. I no longer knock in desperation. I knock in confidence, knowing the door is already unlocked. I do not wait for permission to prosper. I remember who I am, a spiritual being sent forth from infinite mind, carrying within me the pattern of perfect supply. And when I align with this truth, everything changes. No more fear. No more chase. No more waiting in shadows. I step boldly into the light, for I know I am in the presence of unlimited substance, and I now receive in full. When the ticket came, it was not a surprise to my soul. It was a return to order. It was the outer confirmation of the inner knowing I had already walked with. Every morning I had risen with praise, not panic. Every night I had slept in surrender, not scarcity. I had spoken the word, and I had not taken it back. I had sealed it with faith, not worry. I had said, "This is already done." I live in the outcome. I rejoice in the unseen. And the unseen became seen. The promise became paper. The paper became provision. And the provision overflowed. For when you praise with purity, you draw in plenty. I did not look to man to provide. I did not lean on logic. I leaned on the everlasting arms. For the supply of spirit cannot be tracked, measured, or predicted. It comes like the wind, blowing where it listeth. You do not know how, but you always know it comes. And when it comes, it brings more than money. It brings peace. For what good is a winning ticket if fear still grips the heart? But the gift of spirit is full. It brings no sorrow with it. It restores the soul. It opens the eyes. It fills the cup. The supply I received did not diminish anything or anyone. It multiplied joy. It was not taken from another. It was drawn from the infinite. So I say again, your good is not limited. Your miracle does not remove another's. There is no competition in the kingdom. There is no shortage in the spirit. You do not need to grasp what is yours. You only need to know it is yours, and let go. Loosen your grip. Loosen your fear. Say now, I release all blocks to abundance. I trust the process of divine manifestation. I rejoice in the increase that is already mine. I walk in plenty. This is the way. This is the rhythm. You speak, you believe. You release, and the field brings forth fruit. Each time you worry, you delay the harvest. Each time you doubt, you disturb the soil. But each time you praise, you deepen the roots. Each time you affirm, you water the seed. Each time you rejoice, you hasten the blooming. Spirit needs no help to prosper you. It needs only your permission, and permission is granted through faith. Faith is the divine yes that opens the gates. So say yes. Say it now. Say yes to overflow, yes to miracles, yes to sudden wealth, yes to divine surprises, yes to answered prayer. Say it without hesitation. Say it without fear. For when you say yes to Spirit, Spirit says yes to you. And when the yeses match, the miracle arrives. It appears in the way you least expect, but always in the way that confirms your inner trust. It may look like coincidence to others. It may look like luck to the world, but you will know the truth. You will know the law. You will know that nothing comes to you by accident. It comes by vibration. It comes by alignment. It comes by the strange and wonderful workings of divine order, set in motion by your word, upheld by your faith, and drawn into form by your love. I now speak the word. The riches of heaven are mine now, and I receive without fear, for it is the Father's good pleasure to give me the kingdom. I no longer ask if the wealth will come. I no longer wonder how it shall appear. I stand in the knowing that what is mine is already moving toward me, through channels seen and unseen. I have released the burden of figuring it out. I do not work the miracle. I receive it. I do not strive to force the door. I praise until it swings open. For praise is the oil in the hinges of heaven. Praise is the song that parts the veil. Praise is the evidence of faith fulfilled before the eye sees the sign. When I praised the invisible, the visible began to take shape. I did not see the numbers on the ticket before the draw, but I saw the result in my spirit. I saw myself rejoicing. I saw myself giving thanks. I saw the money already circulating. I walked with the vibration of victory, and victory came, for nothing resists a soul that rejoices in advance. Nothing delays a heart that sings the song of supply. I did not praise to get. I praised because I already had. That is the strange trick misunderstood by the world. To give thanks before the miracle is not foolish. It is faith. It is the highest form of creation. Faith does not ask for signs. It gives them. Faith does not need proof. It becomes proof. And so I became the evidence. I became the vessel. I lived as though it were done. And the ethers bowed to the rhythm of my certainty. The moment I stopped watching the clock, the moment I let go of when, where and who, the moment I returned to the stillness of I am, everything aligned. The divine appointment had been set long before I knew the date, and all I needed to do was arrive in faith. This is the sacred rhythm of manifestation. You plant the word, you water with joy, and you wait in stillness. Not idle waiting, but pregnant with praise, expectant, confident, peaceful, and while you wait, you do not stare at the seed. You do not dig up the soil. You do not beg the heavens. You simply affirm the harvest is certain. The manifestation is sure. My good is guaranteed. And then one morning, one evening, one unexpected moment, it arrives. Not because you earned it, but because you aligned with it. I say now, speak as I spoke. I walk in divine favor. I attract money with ease. I am led by spirit to miracles disguised as ordinary moments. I trust the process of prosperity. These words are not empty. They are seeds. And every seed carries within it the full picture of the tree. You do not need to understand how the tree will grow. You only need to plant and to believe. The soil does the rest. The field performs the miracle, but it will only bring forth what you have spoken in love and faith. Release the striving. Release the grasping. Release the fear that says you must control the outcome. For the kingdom is not entered by force, it is entered by faith. And when you step into the kingdom steps into you. Your very presence begins to radiate prosperity. Your vibration becomes the invitation. Your joy becomes the signal. And wealth flows not to the loudest voice, but to the clearest frequency. Align your frequency now. Say, I am already rich. I am already favored. I am already chosen. I am already provided for. And let that truth carry you, like a wave of light, into the manifestation already prepared for you from the foundation of the world. I now speak the word. The manifestation is complete. The miracle is mine, and I rejoice in the abundance of the fulfilled word. I walk in the field of answered prayer. I breathe the air of divine harvest. I hold in my hands the visible proof of invisible faith. But more than this, I hold the knowing, the holy certainty that what came to me was never about the paper, the numbers, the prize. It was about the revelation, the unveiling of truth. That supply does not come from odds. It does not come from man. It does not come from effort. It comes from God. And God is never late. God is never confused. God is never limited. As I stood with the ticket in hand, I did not feel shock. I felt recognition. I had been here before in the spirit. I had seen it in vision. I had claimed it in faith. I had praised it in secret. I had walked with it in my heart, until my heart and the outer world matched. This was not chance. This was demonstration. This was divine order made visible. This was the law of the spoken word fulfilled. The field must respond to the word. And the field did, and now I live in the overflowing. But I do not stop here. I do not hoard the miracle. I do not bow to the gold, for the gold is not the goal. The glory is the glory of God made known through the manifestation of plenty. the demonstration of heaven's abundance poured through an obedient soul. I now become a lighthouse. I shine not only with wealth, but with wisdom. I radiate not only with blessing, but with boldness, for I know the secret. I have touched the hem of the law, and I pass it on to you now, dear listener, as it was passed to me, not through teaching, but through truth. You too have the power to call forth what is yours. You too are heir to the kingdom. There is no limit in spirit, and there is no lack in your life when you speak the word in alignment. You are not separate from your supply, you are one with it. You are not beneath your good, you are equal to it. It longs to reach you, it rushes to you, it waits only for the welcome of your faith. Speak now, as I have spoken. Declare, I am the miracle in motion. I am the doorway through which divine abundance now flows. I receive without resistance. I give without fear. I live in the overflow of divine provision, and let the word settle deep into the soil of your subconscious, where no thief may steal it, and no doubt may uproot it. Walk now as the receiver. Think now as the prosperous. Give now as the wealthy. Praise now as the fulfilled. For the moment you live in the answer must live in you. Do not ask for signs, be the sign. Do not wait for proof, walk as proof. You are the visible expression of an invisible truth that God is supply, and supply is now. Let the world call it strange, let them say it's foolish, let them whisper of luck and chance, but you will smile, and you will know. It was never a trick, it was the law of faith in perfect operation. And that law, once awakened, never sleeps. It continues to bless, continues to increase, continues to unfold in ways no man can measure, and so it is. There is a power within you greater than any obstacle, greater than any fear, greater than any lack or limitation. That power is waiting, quietly, patiently, for you to awaken to its presence. Many go through life half asleep, drifting with doubt, chained by worry, lulled by the voice of appearances. They lie down in discouragement when success was only one step away, one thought away, one word spoken in faith away. But Spirit whispers, don't sleep until try this. For the moment you try the way of bold expectancy, doors begin to open where there seemed to be none. Life is a game of boomerangs. What you throw out returns to you multiplied. If you cast out fear, fear comes back. But if you cast out courage and confidence, they too will return with their companions. Joy, supply, and freedom. Many slumber in the false belief that they must wait for the right time, the right circumstance, or the right person to deliver them. But the truth is now. The door is already open, if only you dare to walk through. The command is simple: do not delay, do not sleep. Do not hesitate until you try the method of trust, the practice of fearless speaking, the experiment of acting as if the victory is already won. Every thought is a seed. If you scatter seeds of worry, you will reap weeds. If you scatter seeds of faith, the harvest will astonish you. The secret lies in refusing to drift back into the slumber of doubt. One fearless affirmation, spoken with conviction, can overturn years of struggle. One act of courage can rewrite the story of your life. That is why you must not sleep. Not until you have tried this. Tried aligning your words with your highest good. Tried living as if the unseen were already seen. Tried believing that what belongs to you cannot be withheld. The world will tell you it cannot be done, that you must settle, that you must wait. But Spirit says, prove me now. Life is not waiting for you to dream idly. It is waiting for you to wake up and take possession of the good already prepared for you. When you walk boldly, unseen forces rush to your aid. When you hold fast to your word, the whole universe conspires to deliver. The invisible becomes visible the instant you refuse to be lulled back into sleep. So I say again, don't sleep until try this. Try speaking only words of power. Try walking in expectation instead of fear. Try standing tall in the face of appearances and declaring, I cannot fail, for the Spirit within me is my supply, my guide, and my victory. Try it, and you will find that the night of limitation gives way to the morning of abundance. Awaken the power within. There is no greater truth than this. Inside every human being resides an infinite source of wisdom, courage, and supply. It is not somewhere outside in the distance. waiting for you to chase it down. It is not locked in the hands of another, nor is it a prize given only to a chosen few. It is already within you. Closer than breath, nearer than thought, waiting only for recognition. Most people go through life unaware of this treasure, living half asleep, hypnotized by appearances, deceived by fear, and chained by doubt. They look outside themselves for answers and solutions, seeking endlessly in places that cannot satisfy, while the true gold lies hidden in their own consciousness. To awaken the power within means to turn your gaze inward, to acknowledge that you are not weak, not helpless, not at the mercy of chance, but aligned with the source of all creation. This awakening begins with a single act: recognition. Recognition that every word spoken, every thought entertained, every belief repeated in the quiet chambers of the mind is shaping your world. The power within you is creative, and like a silent artist it paints your experiences with the colors you provide. If you furnish it with fear, it paints scenes of lack, confusion, and delay. If you furnish it with faith, it paints beauty, abundance, and triumph. The key is to recognize that you are not separate from this power. It is not something you call down from above, nor something you must beg for. It is already yours, but it remains dormant until you awaken it with conscious use. Imagine a great musician whose hands rest idly on the piano, never playing the keys. The potential for music is there, yet without intention it remains silent. So it is with you. The melodies of health, success, and happiness lie ready to be expressed, but unless you place your fingers upon the keys of thought and word, nothing plays. To awaken the power within is to begin striking the notes deliberately, refusing the discord of doubt, insisting upon harmony and strength. You may feel resistance at first, for the habits of fear are strong and the voice of appearances speaks loudly. But persistence brings mastery, and soon the inner symphony begins to play. When you recognize that the power within you is spirit expressing itself, you cease to shrink from challenges. You begin to understand that obstacles are not walls but illusions, mirages that dissolve when met with unwavering conviction. The awakened individual knows that appearances have no final say. If lack shows itself, he calls upon abundance within. If sickness tries to fasten itself, he summons health within. If fear knocks loudly, he answers with courage within. This shift of consciousness does not come from straining or forcing, it comes from simple recognition, from remembering over and over that what is within is greater than what is without. Awakening is not a one-time event, but a daily practice of alignment. Each morning offers a fresh chance to affirm, I am strong, I am guided, I am supplied. Each situation is an opportunity to choose faith over fear, vision over blindness, joy over despair. The more you practice, the stronger the awareness grows, until it becomes second nature. You begin to carry yourself differently, walk differently, even speak differently. The light in your eyes grows brighter because you know the truth. Nothing outside has power over the awakened within. Consider the many who sleep through life, never daring to test the strength of their own words. They complain, they worry, they envy, and in so doing they unwittingly create more of the same. They never pause to recognize that every complaint is a seed of more complaint, every doubt a seed of more defeat. They sleep in the dream of limitation, while the kingdom of limitless possibility waits in their very breath. Awakening is simply shaking off this dream, refusing to be lulled any longer by appearances, and declaring with full authority, the power within me is greater than anything before me. The moment you speak such words with conviction, something shifts. Invisible forces begin to stir. Circumstances start to realign. What once seemed impossible begins to bend toward you. This is not coincidence, it is law. The awakened power answers to recognition like a spark answers to a flame. The more you affirm it, the brighter it burns, and the brighter it burns, the less room there is for darkness. Do not wait for evidence to awaken. Awakening creates the evidence. Do not wait for circumstances to change, your recognition changes them. This is the secret hidden in plain sight. You already hold the key. The treasure you seek is not buried in distant lands, nor guarded by others, but lies at the very center of your being. When you awaken to it, you discover that what you once chased after was always yours. You discover that the supply was already prepared, the answer already given, the victory already accomplished. Every great triumph in history began not with outer resources, but with inner recognition. Those who changed the world were not necessarily stronger, richer, or more gifted, they were simply awake. They knew the source within and dared to trust it against all odds. They walked forward when others shrank back, because they carried an awareness that could not be shaken. So too can you, for the same power that breathed galaxies into being breathes in you this very moment. To awaken it, speak to it. Call it forth with words of authority. Say, I am fearless, for the spirit within me is my strength. Say, I am abundant, for the source within me is my supply. Say, I am guided, for wisdom within me lights my path. Repeat these words until they are etched upon your consciousness, until no doubt can erase them. Speak them not with hope but with certainty, as one who knows the truth. For words are the triggers that release the hidden forces of the soul. The awakening deepens each time you act as though the unseen were already seen. Walk as if the door were open, and it opens. Live as if the answer were given, and it appears. Trust as if the way were clear, and it clears. The outer responds to the inner like a mirror reflects a face. Change the reflection within, and the world must follow. This is the call. Awaken the power within. Refuse to drift in fear, and stand in the knowing that you are more than appearances, more than circumstances, more than limitations. For the sleeping self may stumble in shadows, but the awakened self shines like the sun, dispelling every illusion with the light of truth. Life is a boomerang, and every word, every thought, every feeling you send out into the invisible comes back to you multiplied. Nothing you release into the universe is lost. It circles, it gathers, it returns. Some call it cause and effect, others call it reaping and sowing, but the image of a boomerang shows it perfectly. What leaves your hand is destined to come back, carrying with it more of its kind. If you cast out anger, anger returns to you in multiplied forms. If you cast out joy, joy comes circling back with greater intensity. Most people do not realize they are constantly throwing out these boomerangs, and they wonder why their lives are filled with struggle or lack. They believe life happens to them by chance, forgetting that every thought entertained and every word spoken has already been set in flight, already shaping its inevitable return. The mind is a fertile field, and the boomerangs you throw are the seeds you plant. Each thought is a seed that must bear fruit, each feeling a vibration that must return in kind. The universe is unfailing in its accuracy, exact in its response, incapable of error. You may forget the words you spoke in anger, or the complaint you muttered in despair, but the law has not forgotten. The boomerang has already been cast, and it is on its way back to you, carrying with it the same vibration that sent it forth. This is why awakening to this principle is so vital. You cannot afford to throw out carelessly. You cannot afford to indulge in idle words, resentful thoughts, or fearful expectations, for they are not idle at all. They are living forces moving in circles, destined to touch your life again. When you realize this, you begin to take greater care with what you release. You begin to understand that every affirmation of strength brings back strength. Every act of generosity returns as supply. Every declaration of faith comes back as manifestation. Life is not random, and nothing in it is wasted. Everything comes home to the one who sent it out. When you send forth kindness, kindness hunts you down. When you send forth beauty, beauty seeks you out. The circle may take time, but it is sure. Some complain that they have tried and tried, yet their good has not returned. They fail to see that their boomerangs of doubt and fear cancel the good they have sent. They speak words of faith in one breath and words of despair in the next, setting conflicting circles in motion. The law returns them both, and the individual wonders why the path is filled with mixed results. The solution is consistency. To speak only one language, the language of faith. the language of power, the language of abundance, and to refuse the other. The consistent thrower of good cannot fail to receive good in return, for the law itself ensures it. This principle works invisibly but surely like gravity. No one doubts that what goes up must come down, and no one should doubt that what goes out must come back. The world is filled with individuals living in the harvest of their own boomerangs, many unconscious of the fact that they themselves sent them out. They blame circumstances, people, and fate, never pausing to ask what seeds they planted, what words they spoke, what attitudes they held. Yet once you know the law, you hold the key. You no longer stumble blindly, but deliberately release only what you desire to see again. This truth gives you power over your environment. If you lack, send out generosity, even if small. If you are lonely, send out love in thought and deed. If you are fearful, send out courage, affirm it, declare it, embody it. Soon the circles will return, and with them will come the harvest. Do not watch impatiently for the boomerang to reappear, for impatience itself sends out another vibration that circles back as delay. Trust the law to work and continue casting forth good, knowing the return is certain. Consider the power of the spoken word. Words are not mere sounds, they are forces, living boomerangs that go out to accomplish their purpose and then come home. When you say, "I am strong," that strength begins circling back. When you say, "I can't," that failure begins circling too. The universe does not argue with you, it simply reflects. It does not judge whether your words are wise or foolish, positive or negative. It only brings them home to their sender. That is why guarding the tongue is as vital as guarding thought. To let careless words of defeat escape is to throw a boomerang of defeat. To let words of hope and victory escape is to set in motion their certain return. Every act, too, is a boomerang. The gift you give, even if unnoticed by others, is circling back to you with multiplied supply. The act of forgiveness you extend, though unseen, is circling back to you with freedom. The resentment you hold, though hidden, is circling back as bondage. No act is isolated, no thought is forgotten. The invisible record is unfailing, and the returns come exactly in kind. This should not be cause for fear but for great joy, for it means no good effort is wasted, no word of truth spoken in faith is in vain, no act of love ever disappears. It will return, and often at the moment you need it most. Think of the one who continually expects failure, who continually speaks of lack, who continually imagines worst-case scenarios. His boomerangs are circling in every direction, and they will not fail to return, each confirming his fearful expectations. Then think of the one who continually expects success, who speaks of abundance, who imagines best-case scenarios. His boomerangs are also circling, and they too will not fail to return, each confirming his confident faith. The difference between these two lies not in luck but in law, not in chance but in consciousness. Each is simply reaping his own returns. This truth calls for vigilance. It asks you to stand guard at the door of your mind, to monitor the words you speak, to watch the seeds you plant. It does not require strain or effort, but awareness. With awareness, you can pause before sending out a fearful thought, before speaking a careless word, before indulging in resentment. With awareness, you can replace them with words of power, thoughts of victory, feelings of love. Every time you do so, you send out a new boomerang, one that will circle back with multiplied good. It is never too late to change what you send out. Even if the past has filled your life with unwanted returns, you can begin now to release new circles, new words, new acts, new expectations. The old boomerangs will still return, but if you persist in sending out good, soon the balance shifts, and the harvest of faith overtakes the harvest of fear. The more you persist, the more the law works in your favor, until you live in a continual circle of blessing, receiving daily the multiplied returns of the good you have faithfully released. The secret is in the word, for the word spoken with conviction is the bridge between the unseen and the seen, the invisible and the visible, the potential and the manifestation. All through life, people underestimate the power of their own words, believing them to be idle sounds that pass into the air and disappear. Yet every word carries creative force, shaping circumstances, building conditions, and setting in motion events that echo back into the life of the one who spoke them. The individual who understands this begins to measure speech carefully, to weigh every phrase with intention, knowing that words are never lost, never empty, never powerless. They are seeds cast into the fertile soil of the universe, each one destined to bear fruit after its kind. There are those who speak words of defeat continually. Words such as, I can't, I don't have, it's too hard, nothing works for me. They imagine these words are harmless, mere expressions of mood, yet they are planting seeds of limitation and watering them daily. Soon those seeds sprout into visible experiences, confirming the very words that created them. The speaker then points to the result and says, "See, I told you so," not realizing that it was the spoken word that set the whole circle in motion. On the other hand, the one who speaks words of faith, of abundance, of courage, of victory, may at first see no immediate evidence, but the law is at work. Those words have already gone forth to accomplish their purpose, already shaping circumstances, already preparing the return, and they will not return void. The word holds its secret power because it is vibration, and vibration is creation. Everything in the universe vibrates, and words are simply vibrations given form by the tongue and the breath. When those vibrations are charged with faith, they harmonize with the greater vibrations of spirit, drawing to themselves matching forms and experiences. When they are charged with fear, they harmonize with lower vibrations and draw forms of lack, sickness, and failure. To know this is to hold in your mouth the very key to your destiny. No external power can determine your experience with greater certainty than the words you consistently declare. Affirmations, when spoken with expectancy, are not mere phrases but commands to the unseen. To say, I am strong, when weakness tries to claim you, is to release a force that calls forth strength. To say, I am supplied, when lack presses heavily, is to set in motion the flow of provision. To say, I am guided, when confusion clouds the way, is to invite clarity and direction. The words may sound simple, but their effect is profound. For the secret is not in the length or complexity of speech, but in its vibration, in the faith behind it, in the expectancy that accompanies it. Many wonder why their affirmations seem not to work. They repeat words mechanically, without conviction, or they cancel them with contradictory statements of fear. They say, I am prosperous, in the morning, but spend the rest of the day declaring how poor they are. They say, I am healthy, in one breath, and in the next they tell everyone about their sickness. The law cannot operate in such confusion. The word must be consistent, steady, unwavering, until it establishes itself in consciousness and begins to bear fruit. One fearless affirmation, spoken with absolute conviction, can overturn years of defeat. The secret lies in speaking as one who knows, not as one who merely hopes. The spoken word also carries authority because it bypasses the rational mind and goes directly into the subconscious. The subconscious is the great servant, accepting as true whatever is impressed upon it with feeling. When you speak words aloud with conviction, the subconscious receives them as commands and begins to shape your life accordingly. Say, I am confident, often enough, and the subconscious builds confidence into your character. Say, I am unlucky, often enough, and the subconscious builds failure into your path. The subconscious does not reason, it only obeys, and it takes its orders from the words you repeat with emotion. Think of the power of words throughout history. Every great movement, every transformation, every revolution has begun with words. Words spoken to awaken, to inspire, to command, to declare. The world has been changed countless times not by weapons first, but by words that ignited consciousness and reshaped reality. If words spoken by one person can change nations, how much more can words spoken by you change your personal world? When you realize this, you no longer allow careless speech to pass your lips, for you know each one is a decree. You become deliberate, intentional, guarding your tongue as a sacred instrument of creation. The secret in the word also applies to prayer. True prayer is not pleading or begging but declaring. To pray effectively is to speak the word of truth with faith, to affirm the reality of what you seek as already accomplished, to claim it in words until the unseen takes form. "I give thanks that it is done," is one of the most powerful phrases you can utter, for it speaks not from longing but from certainty. The universe responds to certainty. The law of vibration responds to the words spoken in thanksgiving, as though the gift were already in hand, and then it must appear. Every individual has experienced the effect of words in daily life. A kind word can lift the spirit and change the course of a day. A cruel word can wound and discourage for years, if words can so strongly affect another. How much more do they affect the one who speaks them? For the vibration touches the speaker first before it touches the listener. Every word you say to another you say also to yourself. When you criticize, you lower your own vibration. When you bless, you lift your own vibration. When you declare success for another, you call success to yourself. The law is mutual and unfailing, and it all begins with the word. The word is also the means of cutting off old patterns. When the habit of fear arises, you can immediately declare, "I fear nothing, for the spirit within me is greater than all." When the thought of failure creeps in, you can declare, "I cannot fail, for my success is divinely assured." Each declaration is like a sword cutting through the web of illusion, breaking chains of doubt and setting free the higher vibration of truth. Without the word, the mind remains a battlefield of opposing thoughts, but with the word, the mind finds clarity and direction. Words carry images, and images create conditions. When you say, "I am prosperous," the subconscious begins to form images of prosperity, and life responds to those images. When you say, "I never have enough," the subconscious forms images of lack, and life mirrors them back. The spoken word, therefore, is the painter's brush of your destiny. What picture will you paint, lack or plenty, sickness or health, defeat or victory? The canvas is your life, and the brush is in your mouth. The secret is in the word because the word aligns you with the source. Spirit itself is word, vibration, sound, the great creative utterance that brought the universe into being. When you speak words of faith, you are not merely making noise. You are joining yourself to that original creative force, echoing it, channeling it, giving it form in your personal world. The same word that called light out of darkness still vibrates through the universe, and each time you speak in alignment with it, you release its power into your affairs. To know this is to hold the master key to creation, for truly, the word spoken with faith is law fulfilled. Prove spirit now, for life does not wait for hesitation, and the universe responds not to delay but to bold expectancy. Too often people postpone their good, imagining some future moment when conditions will be perfect, when opportunities will align, when they will at last feel ready. Yet that future never arrives, for the only time that exists is now, and spirit can only prove itself in the present. The command is clear: prove it now. Act in faith now, expect results now. To wait is to sleep, but to act in trust is to awaken. When you prove spirit, you are not testing a distant force outside yourself, you are demonstrating the presence already within you. Spirit is ever present, limitless, and ready to flow, but it requires an open channel. That channel is expectancy, spoken word, and fearless action. When you dare to declare that your need is already supplied, you invite spirit to manifest in visible form. When you walk forward as if the way is open, the way opens. When you hold fast to a promise in the face of contradiction, circumstances rearrange themselves to prove that your faith was not in vain. The law does not answer to timidity, but it leaps to respond to unwavering conviction. Many say they believe, but their actions betray their doubt. They speak of trust, yet they prepare for failure. They affirm abundance, yet they hoard in fear. They declare health, yet they continually discuss their sickness. This double-mindedness prevents demonstration, for spirit can only prove itself in the atmosphere of certainty. To prove spirit now is to act as though the unseen were already visible, to carry yourself as one who knows the outcome is assured, to refuse any word or action that contradicts the truth you are standing upon. Consider the image of a seed planted in the ground. The gardener does not dig it up each day to see if it is growing. He waters it, he tends it, he expects the harvest. That expectation is proof of his faith, and the earth responds accordingly. So it is with spirit. Once you have declared the word, once you have affirmed your good, you do not dig it up with doubt or cancel it with fear. You water it with thanksgiving, you expect it in confidence. You walk as though it were already yours. That expectancy proves spirit, and spirit proves itself unfailingly. Delay is the great thief of demonstration. The mind says, tomorrow I will believe more strongly. Tomorrow I will affirm with greater power. Tomorrow I will step out in faith. But tomorrow never comes, for tomorrow is always a day away. The truth is that the only place of power is the present moment, and the only time to prove spirit is now. When you declare boldly in the face of present circumstances, you release a force that cannot be delayed. The demonstration may not appear instantly in visible form, but the law begins moving at once. Invisible channels open, unseen forces align, and soon the evidence appears. But nothing moves until you prove it now. Proving spirit requires boldness. You must dare to declare what the senses deny. You must dare to affirm prosperity while appearances shout lack. You must dare to speak health while the body trembles. You must dare to proclaim success while failure stares you in the face. It is this daring that opens the door, for the law is not impressed by caution. Spirit flows most freely through the one who dares, the one who claims his good without hesitation, the one who speaks as if it were already accomplished. Every promise of spirit carries within it the demand, prove me now. It is not a suggestion, but a challenge. The universe asks, will you trust what you cannot see? Will you act upon what you believe rather than upon what you fear? Will you walk in the light of truth rather than the shadow of appearances? When you answer yes, you put the law to work, and it never fails. The moment you act in expectancy, the wheels of demonstration begin to turn. Proving spirit is not about strain or force. It is not about trying harder or begging more fervently. It is about standing still in the certainty that what you have spoken is true, and then acting as though it is. It is quiet confidence, not anxious effort. It is calm expectation, not frantic worry. It is the assurance that what is yours cannot be withheld, and therefore you need not chase it or grasp at it. You simply prove it by declaring it and moving forward, as though it were already accomplished. The one who proves spirit now lives differently from the one who postpones. He does not wait for conditions to change before he believes. He believes, and the conditions change. He does not wait for the evidence before he acts. He acts, and the evidence appears. He does not wait for doors to open before he walks. He walks, and the doors swing wide. The difference lies not in chance or fortune, but in the willingness to prove spirit, now rather than later. Fear will always whisper reasons to delay. It will say, wait until you are stronger, until you are richer, until you are more prepared. But spirit does not require preparation of the outer kind. Spirit requires only readiness of the inner kind, and that readiness is faith. To prove spirit now is to silence the whisper of fear with the shout of truth, to declare, I am ready now. For spirit within me is already complete. The outer can never be perfect before the inner is proven, for the outer is only a reflection of the inner. Think of all the demonstrations that never come because people postpone their good. They wait for a more convenient time, not realizing that every delay closes the channel through which spirit flows. The moment of power is always now, and each time you hesitate, you forfeit an opportunity to see spirit at work. But the moment you dare to prove it, even in a small way, the law responds. Every small demonstration builds confidence for greater ones, until you live in continual expectation of spirit's proving. To prove spirit now is also to speak the word of thanksgiving before the manifestation appears. Gratitude is proof of faith, for it declares that the gift is already received, already secured, already present in the unseen. When you give thanks in advance, you prove that you believe the law is at work, and this proof accelerates the return. The more you live in thanksgiving, the faster the evidence appears. For spirit delights to prove itself where it is trusted. The world may scoff at such faith, calling it foolish or unrealistic. But spirit proves itself not to the doubters but to the doers. Those who wait for appearances to change, before they believe remain trapped in appearances. Those who prove spirit now rise above appearances and draw forth new ones. The proof is always in the demonstration, and the demonstration always follows the fearless words spoken in the present moment. The law never asks, "Will you prove me tomorrow?" It always asks, "Will you prove me now?" The answer must be now, for the eternal power is present now, the supply is present now, the health is present now, the guidance is present now. Nothing is withheld except by hesitation. The instant you dare to prove it, the instant you dare to act as though it were already done, that is the instant the law begins to work on your behalf. Victory is already prepared. And the good you long for is not something to be chased after or earned with struggle, but something that has been provided from the beginning. You are not here to beg for scraps, you are here to claim an inheritance. The treasure is laid up, the table is already set, and the supply is waiting for recognition. Yet so many walk in circles of lack, confusion, and defeat because they believe victory lies in some distant future, hidden behind toil, hardship, and striving. They imagine that only by proving themselves worthy, only by outlasting endless trials, will they be allowed a taste of success. They do not realize that the banquet is already served, that the victory is already written, and that all that remains is to take possession with faith. This truth changes the entire attitude toward life. If victory is already prepared, then you no longer strive in fear or chase in desperation. You walk calmly, expectantly, knowing that what is yours cannot be withheld. The path becomes less about clawing and more about claiming. Less about pushing and more about aligning. You step forward not with the anxious energy of someone who must create everything from nothing, but with the quiet confidence of someone who knows the provision is already waiting. This confidence is the atmosphere in which spirit works most freely, for it shows you have moved beyond doubt and entered into recognition. The difficulty is that appearances contradict this truth. The senses see lack. The world shouts impossibility, and the mind grows restless when the evidence seems to delay. But appearances are not the authority. Appearances are shifting shadows, reflections of past thought, not the eternal reality. The eternal reality is that spirit has already supplied, already opened the way, already prepared the outcome. When you hold fast to this, refusing to be swayed by outer conditions, you rise into the vibration where the prepared victory reveals itself. The law is simple: what belongs to you must reach you. What is prepared for you must unfold, but only if you claim it with unwavering certainty. Think of the farmer who plants seeds in the soil. He does not imagine he must create the harvest out of nothing. He knows the harvest is already prepared within the seed, and all he must do is provide the right conditions. So it is with every desire that rises within you. The desire itself is the seed, and the fulfillment is already contained within it. The fact that you can envision the good means it is already prepared, waiting to unfold. You do not manufacture it through strain, you align with it through faith. Each time you affirm, "My victory is assured," you water the seed. Each time you act as though the harvest is certain, you provide sunlight. Each time you give thanks before seeing evidence, you accelerate the growth. The tragedy is that many abandon their harvest before it ripens. They look at the bare soil and declare, "Nothing is happening," forgetting that the process is invisible long before it is visible. They dig up their seeds with doubt, cancel their affirmations with fear, and walk away from the field. Then they claim the principle does not work, never realizing it was their own impatience that robbed them of the harvest. But those who persist, who stand in confidence even when appearances seem barren, always see the victory unfold, for it was prepared from the beginning. Victory is not limited to a few. It is not withheld as a prize for the fortunate or the chosen. It is the birthright of all. For spirit plays no favorites. The same law that guarantees the return of the sun each morning guarantees the return of your good when you align with it. You do not need to compete, for what is yours is already marked with your name. No one else can take it, no circumstance can block it, no delay can erase it. The only requirement is that you recognize it, claim it, and walk as though it were already here. The moment you do, channels begin to open, opportunities appear, and people are moved into place to deliver what was always intended for you. To live as though victory is already prepared is to shift your consciousness from striving to resting in faith. It does not mean inactivity, but it means activity free from fear. You still take steps, you still move forward, but you do so in the energy of certainty rather than the energy of desperation. You write the letter, make the call, pursue the vision, but all the while you know the outcome is already secured. This removes anxiety, for you no longer place the burden of success upon your own shoulders. You realize Spirit has already carried it, and your role is to cooperate, to align, to speak and act in harmony with what is already yours. This attitude transforms even challenges. When obstacles appear, you do not collapse in despair, for you know the victory is already prepared behind them. You see the challenge as a test of recognition, a chance to stand firm in your claim rather than retreat into fear. You say, "This too shall pass. For my good is inevitable," and the obstacle dissolves or turns into a stepping stone. What once would have shaken you now becomes an opportunity to strengthen your conviction, to prove again that nothing can prevent the manifestation of what Spirit has already completed. Gratitude becomes natural in this consciousness, for you are no longer waiting for proof to give thanks. You thank in advance, knowing the answer is already given. You rise each morning with thanksgiving for the victory, even if it is not yet visible to the senses, for you know visibility is only a matter of time. Gratitude is the fragrance of faith, the sign that you truly believe your good is assured. And gratitude multiplies the blessing, speeding its return, expanding its reach, until the demonstration surpasses what you originally envisioned. Those who live in the vibration of prepared victory walk differently, speak differently, and carry themselves differently. They are not easily swayed by appearances, not quick to despair, not desperate for approval. They radiate quiet assurance, knowing that nothing can be withheld. They bless others freely, for they know blessing cannot diminish their own supply. They encourage others boldly, for they know victory is abundant and unlimited, not scarce or exclusive. They become living examples of what it means to stand in recognition of Spirit's completed work. This recognition is the true secret to peace. Without it, life feels like endless striving, endless grasping, endless fear of loss. With it, life becomes a steady unfolding of good, a calm assurance that each step leads inevitably to greater expression of the victory already secured. You need not push against the current, or exhaust yourself with worry, for the current is already carrying you toward your prepared good. The more you relax into this truth, the more swiftly and easily it comes. Victory is already prepared in every area. Health already prepared in the face of sickness, supply already prepared in the face of lack, success already prepared in the face of failure. Nothing is truly missing, it is only unseen. The senses may insist otherwise, but the senses are limited. Spirit is unlimited, and Spirit has already completed the work. When you shift from asking, "Will it happen?" to declaring, "It is done," you move into alignment with the truth, and the unseen swiftly becomes seen. Each time you declare victory, you awaken to more of it. Each time you give thanks in advance, you call it closer. Each time you act in faith, you reveal another portion of the prepared plan. Life ceases to be a struggle and becomes a proving ground for demonstration, where every circumstance becomes an opportunity to reveal more of what was always waiting for you. The promise is not that you will one day achieve victory after endless striving, but that victory has already been written into the fabric of your being. And your role is to recognize it, claim it, and walk forward in the certainty that it cannot be denied. In this great game of life, where every thought is a seed and every word a magnet, the power to remain unshaken is a rare and radiant gift. To learn to ignore is not to become cold or indifferent, it is to become master of your own inner kingdom. The world, like a stage, will send many actors to play their part before you. Some will speak in harmony with your soul, while others will attempt to cast their shadows upon your light. But the soul that knows its own worth does not tremble at every whisper. It stands firm, anchored in the quiet strength of divine wisdom. Many chase respect as though it were a prize to be won in the noise of approval. They twist and turn themselves into endless shapes, hoping to please the crowd. Yet respect does not come to the one who bends. It comes to the one who stands. When a person learns the sacred art of ignoring that which does not serve their peace, their presence begins to carry a silent authority. The world senses this stillness and, without quite knowing why, begins to listen more than it speaks. Respect is not demanded. It is magnetized. The law is simple and sure. Attention is power. Whatever you feed with your attention grows roots in your world. If you attend to criticism, it multiplies. If you entertain pettiness, it thrives. If you chase after every opinion, you lose the center of your own. But when you choose to turn your gaze away from the clamor, you starve these shadows of their strength. The noise fades, and your own voice grows clearer, like a bell that rings in a silent room. To ignore is not to deny. It is to choose wisely what deserves the precious gold of your energy. Just as a gardener does not water the weeds, the wise soul does not nourish every distraction. They know that peace is a delicate garden, and respect blooms only where self-command has taken root. The moment you cease to react to every thorn thrown your way, those who sought to disturb your calm lose their hold. People respect the one they cannot shake. The universe rewards inner stillness. When you stop defending, explaining, or proving your worth, the world sees your value more clearly. There is an invisible power in silence, a strength that cannot be faked. It is the quiet certainty that says, "I know who I am, and your noise does not define me." Those who once tested your boundaries begin to adjust their tone. Even storms bow to the mountain that does not move. So walk through life with the grace of one who listens to the whisper of their own soul above the shout of the world. Learn to ignore, not as an escape, but as a declaration of sovereignty. Let your stillness speak where your words do not need to. In that sacred quiet, respect will find its way to you. Like a river flowing back to its source, to ignore is not to diminish yourself, but to recognize your own value so fully that you no longer need to explain it to the world. There is a quiet strength in choosing not to answer every provocation, not to engage with every wandering voice that seeks to define you. When a person truly understands their worth, they cease to be swayed by the endless tides of opinion. They become their own anchor, steady and unshaken, standing in the calm center of their being. This act of ignoring is not weakness, it is sovereignty. It is the refusal to hand over your inner peace as a response to outer noise. People often imagine respect as something granted by others, as if it were a gift they must earn through compliance, performance, or constant explanation. But true respect does not flow from the outside in, it radiates from within. When someone stands in the certainty of who they are, they no longer chase validation, and it is precisely then that the world begins to take notice. It is human nature to value what is not easily shaken. The one who ignores petty slights, casual insults, and unnecessary drama creates an invisible boundary, a quiet line that says, "I will not bend for every passing wind." Others feel this, even if they cannot name it, and their behavior adjusts in the presence of such silent power. There is a kind of magnetism in self-possession. It cannot be bought, imitated, or forced. It comes only when a person decides that their energy is too precious to be spent explaining themselves to those who do not seek to understand. Every time you choose not to react to a provocation, you withdraw your power from that moment and place it back into your own hands. Every time you resist the urge to defend yourself against small minds, you strengthen the quiet fortress within you. Over time, this creates a presence that speaks louder than words ever could. People begin to recognize that you are not someone who can be manipulated through emotion or opinion, and that recognition slowly becomes respect. The world often tests strength not through grand challenges but through small, persistent whispers meant to distract. It may be a careless remark, an unnecessary comparison, or a subtle attempt to draw you into a storm that isn't yours. Most people respond out of impulse. They defend, explain, justify, argue. In doing so, they hand over their calm to whoever shakes it. But the one who ignores does not play this game. They see the whisper for what it is, a shadow without substance, a wind passing through an open field. And because they do not respond, the wind has nothing to move. It loses its force and fades into silence. When you begin to ignore with awareness, you stop chasing what is beneath you. You stop watering weeds. You learn that not everything deserves an answer, not every voice deserves your ear, and not every battle deserves your sword. This realization does not make you aloof, it makes you powerful. It teaches the world how to treat you, because how you respond, or do not respond, sets the tone for how others will behave in your presence. When you do not bend at every nudge, people learn where your lines are drawn. Respect grows naturally, not because you demanded it, but because you carried yourself as someone who already possesses it. There is an elegance in quiet dignity. It does not shout to be seen, it simply exists, and in that existence, it commands attention. The person who ignores wisely does not need to prove their intelligence, their worth, or their strength. Their silence does that for them. Others sense that their approval is neither sought nor required, and paradoxically, that makes it more eagerly given. Humans value what does not beg for their acceptance. They respect what stands apart, what holds its own center. When you learn to ignore, you also begin to refine your focus. You stop scattering your energy on countless, meaningless exchanges. You become selective about what enters your mental and emotional space. This selectiveness is a form of self-respect, and self-respect is the foundation upon which external respect is built. If you treat your time, your attention, and your energy as something valuable, others are forced to acknowledge its worth. But if you give them freely to every disturbance, the world learns to treat them as cheap. Ignoring, therefore, is an act of declaring, "I know what I'm worth, and this is beneath my attention." This kind of strength often unsettles those who are accustomed to controlling others through their reactions. When they cannot shake you, they begin to adjust. They either fall away or learn to meet you at the level of your calm. And those who stay begin to offer respect because they have witnessed the quiet wall they cannot breach. You do not need to build this wall through aggression or arrogance. Simple silence and indifference to nonsense will do. There is nothing louder than a composed mind. Ignorance born of insecurity is different from ignoring born of strength. The latter is deliberate, conscious, and rooted in self-awareness. It is not escapism, it is mastery. It is the understanding that not every noise deserves to live rent-free in your mind. It is the choice to be the observer, not the reactor. And as you cultivate this discipline, your presence shifts. You move from being someone who is affected by the world to someone who affects the world simply by how they hold their own energy. When others see that they cannot provoke a reaction from you, they begin to perceive you as unshakable. And people respect what they cannot shake. They may test it at first, out of habit or curiosity, but the consistency of your stillness teaches them that this is not a performance, it is who you are. Over time, your silence becomes a language of its own. It speaks of boundaries, of self-worth, of clarity. It says, "I will not lower my vibration to meet your chaos." And that silent message is far more powerful than any explanation could ever be. To ignore is to rise above without announcing the ascent. It is to carry your dignity like a shield, not to attack but to remain untouched. It is a quiet refusal to participate in anything that diminishes your peace or distracts from your path. And as you walk this way, people sense it. They step more carefully around you, not out of fear but out of a growing awareness that your respect is not easily earned, your energy not cheaply given, your presence not casually swayed. It is in this stillness, in this quiet declaration of self-worth, that true respect begins to take root. Attention is the purest form of power a person possesses. Wherever it flows, life responds. It is the silent force that feeds everything it touches, shaping the world around you in ways that are often unseen but always felt. Every thought, every word, every reaction is a form of giving energy to something. What receives your attention grows stronger, takes shape, and begins to influence your experience. To guard your attention is to guard your reality. To let it wander aimlessly is to allow the world to shape you instead of you shaping it. When someone learns to protect their attention with quiet strength, they become the true architect of their inner world. The world is constantly reaching for your attention. Every sound, every opinion, every distraction carries invisible hands that try to pull at your focus. It can come in the form of small irritations, meaningless conflicts, empty noise, or seductive temptations. If you respond to each one, if you offer your attention freely to every passing disturbance, you slowly give away your power, piece by piece. It is not the loudest distractions that drain a person. It is the constant small leaks of attention that weaken the inner fortress. The one who learns to direct and protect this force becomes untouchable. They know that attention is not something to be wasted. It is sacred currency. When you give your attention to a person or situation, you give it power over your state of mind. If someone tries to provoke you and you respond with emotion, they have succeeded in redirecting your focus. But when you hold your attention like a calm river, refusing to be disturbed by every stone thrown into it, your inner strength multiplies. People quickly learn that they cannot move you by simple tricks. They realize that their words, their reactions, their noise have no entry point into your quiet. In that moment, your power stands taller than their noise. Many believe that power is loud, that it shows itself through dominance or control. But true power is subtle. It lies in the ability to decide what deserves your attention and what does not. It is not about winning every battle. It is about not allowing unnecessary battles to enter your mind in the first place. Your attention is the gatekeeper. What you let through will shape the castle behind it. If you give your attention to smallness, your world becomes small. If you feed chaos, chaos grows. But if you keep your gaze on peace, clarity, and purpose, everything that does not match that frequency begins to lose its grip. The secret is that attention does not just observe, it feeds. Just as water nourishes the seeds it touches, your attention nourishes the experiences it rests upon. A slight irritation can turn into a storm if you keep feeding it with thoughts and reactions. A careless word can become a wound if you let your attention replay it again and again. But that same irritation dissolves into nothing when you refuse to give it your focus. It withers like a plant denied water. In this way, guarding your attention is not resistance, it is quiet mastery. The mind, if not directed, becomes a servant to every passing distraction. It moves from one noise to another, never still, always restless. This restlessness is the doorway through which your peace escapes. To reverse this, you must choose deliberately where your attention goes. You must decide that not every sound deserves to be heard, not every shadow deserves to be chased, not every storm deserves to enter your house. This is not coldness, it is refinement. It is the way of the person who understands the weight of their own power. When others encounter someone who holds their attention with quiet precision, they feel it, even if they cannot explain it. It creates an invisible wall around you, a sense that you are not easily shaken or distracted. This quality commands respect without demand. People realize that their words will not pull you where you do not want to go, that their chaos will not disturb your calm unless you choose to allow it. This choice is what separates the reactive from the powerful. Every provocation in life is an invitation to hand over your attention. Arguments are not sustained by logic but by the energy of focus. Gossip does not grow without listeners. Drama cannot thrive without an audience. When you ignore what does not deserve your energy, it crumbles from lack of nourishment. The loudest noise falls silent when it finds no ears to catch it. By simply holding your attention steady, you starve what seeks to feed on it. Attention is also the foundation of self-respect. When you give it freely to everything, you treat your energy as if it has no value. But when you guard it like something precious, you silently teach the world to treat it the same way. People learn how to handle your energy by watching how you handle it yourself. If they see you protecting your attention, not chasing after distractions, not reacting to every spark, they instinctively respect your space. They understand that entering your focus is not something easily earned. What you focus on grows inside you as well. If you give your attention to complaints, you cultivate bitterness. If you give it to fear, you strengthen its chains. But if you give your attention to clarity, purpose, and inner peace, those things become your natural state. You are not just guarding against the outside world, you are shaping the inner one. Attention is the sculptor, and your life is the stone. Every thought is a chisel strike. Every focus is a carving. Over time, what you feed becomes the figure you stand beside. It is not necessary to fight distractions. It is only necessary to stop feeding them. A fire burns because wood is given to it. A distraction grows because attention is offered. When you hold your gaze away, when you allow the fire to burn out on its own, your silence becomes the extinguisher. This is the strength of selective focus. It requires no struggle, only decision. As you learn to protect your attention, you begin to move differently. You stop reacting to noise. You stop justifying your peace. You let the world whirl around you without being pulled into its spin. People sense this steadiness and are drawn to it because it is rare. Most are carried by every wave of emotion, every whisper, every nudge. But the one who stands anchored in their attention becomes a presence that others respect instinctively. Attention is not just a tool, it is the very fabric of power. Where it goes, energy flows, and where energy flows, reality grows. The moment you understand this fully, you realize that giving your attention is not a casual act. It is a transaction. It is saying to the world, "This matters to me." And when you say that, the world responds accordingly. If you give it to trivial things, you create a trivial world. If you give it to strength, you build strength around you. If you guard it, the world learns that your energy is not cheap. Every distraction, every provocation, every petty moment is a test, a quiet question asking if it deserves your power. Most do not. And in saying no with silence, in turning away without reaction, you do more than ignore, you declare mastery. Your attention becomes your throne, and not everyone gets to sit before it. This unspoken truth is what separates those who are carried by the world from those who shape it with their quiet strength. Respect is drawn not by noise, not by demands, but by the calm that cannot be disturbed. There is a silent authority that belongs to those who have mastered their inner stillness. This stillness is not passive, nor is it indifference. It is the steady awareness of one's own worth, unbothered by the shifting winds of other people's moods, opinions, or attempts to control. In a world where many are quick to defend, argue, and prove, the person who stands unmoved creates a power that others cannot ignore. Respect does not flow to the one who reacts to everything. It flows to the one who remains composed when everything around them calls for reaction. People instinctively respect what they cannot shake. When they encounter someone who holds their center, no matter how loud the noise grows, they sense a boundary without needing it explained. It is a quiet, invisible line that says, "Your storm is not mine." This kind of steadiness carries weight. It is felt before it is understood. It is not something that has to be declared with raised voices or long speeches. It is simply known. When others sense this calm strength, their behavior begins to shift. They lower their tones, choose their words more carefully, and approach with a different energy. Respect begins not because you demanded it, but because your presence silently commands it. Inner stillness is not built in a day. It is the result of choosing, moment after moment, not to be pulled into every wave that passes by. It is the discipline of letting the world whirl without letting it enter your core. While others waste their energy fighting every ripple, the still soul learns to let the water pass without losing its reflection. This stillness becomes an anchor in every storm. It is the reason why some people seem untouchable, not because they are harder, but because they are quieter inside. That quiet is power, and power earns respect far faster than any display of force. Most people react out of habit. When they hear something sharp, they respond with sharper words. When they feel provoked, they defend or attack. But the one who has found their inner quiet does not respond in the expected way. They pause, they breathe, they allow the noise to pass without becoming part of it. This unexpected calm confuses those who rely on reactions to feel powerful. It removes their fuel. Without a reaction, their attempts fall flat. Over time, they begin to view this stillness not as weakness, but as something stronger than their noise. Respect begins to take root in their minds because they realize they cannot control or disturb what they cannot move. True stillness is not silence alone. It is mastery. It is the ability to hear criticism without absorbing it, to witness chaos without being drawn into it, to stand in your truth without the need to prove it. When someone carries this kind of stillness, they do not chase respect. It arrives naturally. Others instinctively lean toward that energy, because in a restless world, stillness is rare and powerful. People trust those who are not easily swayed. They respect those who do not crumble at the first sign of pressure. They admire those who can walk through storms without shouting back at the thunder. This kind of presence is not loud, it is not dramatic, it does not beg to be seen. It simply exists, and its existence changes the space around it. When you are calm, others lower their voices. When you do not react to provocation, it dies in the air. When you remain composed in conflict, the noise begins to fold into silence. This is why inner stillness commands more respect than loudness ever could. People may ignore words, but they do not ignore energy. They feel the weight of stillness in a room, and they adjust themselves without being told to. To be unshakable is not to be unfeeling. It is to feel deeply but choose what deserves expression. It is to understand that not every impulse deserves a reaction, and not every noise deserves an answer. It is to hold your energy with quiet confidence, knowing that giving it away recklessly would only make you smaller. Respect follows those who respect their own peace first. The more you honor your calm, the more others are compelled to honor it too. They begin to see that disturbing your peace is not a simple task, and they instinctively adjust their approach. Stillness does not mean you are untouched by life. It means you have learned not to let every gust of wind decide the shape of your sail. When people realize that they cannot manipulate you through your emotions, they begin to respect the boundary that stillness creates. They speak with more care. They test less. They stop expecting you to crumble under pressure because you have shown them time and time again that their noise has no power here. Respect is often misunderstood as something external, a gift given by others, but it begins inside. When your own mind respects its stillness, the world mirrors it. When you value your peace above petty battles, those battles stop seeking you out. People treat you according to the energy you project, and stillness projects strength that does not need validation. It quietly tells the world that your peace is not for sale. The power of stillness is that it creates space. It is in that space that respect grows. People do not respect those who are easily swayed because such energy feels unstable, but they respect deeply those who hold their line with quiet grace. They trust such people more. They listen more carefully. They value their words because they are not scattered or impulsive. Their stillness gives weight to their presence, and presence is what shapes how others respond. This quality cannot be faked. Pretending to be calm is not the same as being still. The world senses the difference. Real stillness does not tighten its fists behind closed doors. It does not mask boiling chaos beneath a thin layer of silence. Real stillness is quiet strength. It is a deep-rooted knowing of self. And it is this depth that makes others feel the weight of it even before you speak. When you are still, you stop needing to prove yourself. The urge to explain, to fight for acknowledgement fades. You do not chase respect. It finds its way to you naturally because people are drawn to what they cannot shake. The louder others become, the more powerful your silence appears. In a room full of noise, stillness becomes a command. It does not ask to be heard. It is heard by its very nature. This is why respect is born from inner stillness. It is not a negotiation. It is not earned through overexertion or endless explanations. It flows to the one who embodies calm strength. Others adjust to stillness because it gives them no other choice. The storms outside have no hold over the calm within. When your center is steady, the world takes notice. When your presence is quiet but firm, people lean in. And when your stillness speaks louder than your words, respect follows like a shadow that never leaves. Silence has a language far more powerful than the loudest voice in the room. It carries a weight that words often cannot. Where noise demands attention, silence commands it. Where defense invites struggle, silence dissolves it. There is a certain majesty in refusing to explain yourself to those who have already decided what to believe. In walking away from noise without carrying its echoes. Silence, when chosen consciously, becomes a shield stronger than arguments and a force sharper than any weapon. People may resist words, they may twist them, they may try to overpower them, but they cannot overpower silence. It stands untouchable, impenetrable, and undeniable. When someone hurls criticism or provocation, they expect sound in return. They expect a defense, a reaction, an exchange that feeds their fire. But silence offers no wood for their flames. It starves the storm of the energy it craves. The more they push and find no reaction, the more their noise turns hollow. Silence has a way of turning someone else's noise back on them. It leaves them alone with the weight of their own words, forcing them to hear themselves more clearly. In that moment, it is not you who is exposed. It is them. Defensiveness often weakens a person because it hands power to the one who provoked it. The instant you defend, you accept the premise of the attack. You allow the other person to frame the conversation, to dictate the tone. But silence refuses the frame. It stands outside the argument and makes it irrelevant. It tells the world, without a word spoken, that not every accusation deserves your breath, not every question deserves your voice, not every storm deserves your sail. It is a declaration without a speech. It is power without display. Many believe that silence is passive, but true silence is an active choice. It is the decision to value your peace over your pride, your calm over their chaos. It requires more strength to stay silent than to react. Reaction is easy, defense is instinctive, but silence is mastery. It is the moment when your self-respect speaks louder than your need to be understood. It says, "I know my truth. I do not need to offer it to your noise." And in that stillness, power gathers. Silence also carries mystery. People fear what they cannot read. When you stay silent, others are left to wonder. They begin to fill the space with their own thoughts, their own interpretations, their own awareness of the moment. This can unsettle those who rely on predictable reactions. When they cannot predict you, they cannot control you. And when they cannot control you, they begin to respect you. Silence, therefore, is not absence. It is presence intensified. It does not fade from the moment. It dominates it quietly. Every word spent defending against nonsense is a piece of energy you give away. Every explanation offered to those who do not wish to understand is a door you open that did not need to be opened. Silence closes those doors. It keeps your energy contained, your dignity untouched. It does not lower itself to meet chaos on its level. It rises above it without announcing the ascent. And because silence cannot be argued with, it wins battles without ever entering them. The strength of silence is felt most in conflict. When tempers rise and voices grow sharp, the one who remains silent shifts the entire atmosphere. The loud begin to sound louder, the petty begins to sound pettier. Silence magnifies the smallness of the noise around it. Those who came prepared for a fight find themselves without an opponent. Those who hope to shake your composure find themselves shaking in their own frustration. In that imbalance, respect begins to form. People do not forget the one who does not flinch. Silence is also deeply tied to self-respect. When you feel the need to constantly defend yourself, it means you have given too much power to other people's opinions. You have placed your worth in their hands. But when you stand silent, you place it back where it belongs, within yourself. It is a statement that you do not require their understanding to know your value. You do not need their approval to exist in your truth. This kind of silence is not weakness, it is authority. It is the calm of someone who no longer dances for validation. In a world addicted to noise, silence feels like rebellion. People are used to reaction, to immediate explanations, to battles fought with words, but when faced with silence, they have nothing to grip. It is like trying to hold smoke in their hands. It slips away, leaving only themselves to confront. This quiet power unsettles some, intrigues others, but always leaves an impression. People remember silence because it lingers long after words are forgotten. Silence also sharpens your presence. When you are not constantly defending or reacting, you begin to carry an aura of certainty. Others sense that your energy is not easily accessed, that your attention is not freely given. It makes every word you do choose to speak carry more weight. Because you speak less, people listen more. Because you defend less, they question themselves more. Silence is not the absence of voice. It is the concentration of power. Those who respect themselves do not rush to explain themselves. They do not chase understanding from those committed to misunderstanding. They do not hand their peace to passing opinions. They let silence hold the space, trusting that their truth does not need defending to remain true. This level of calm is rare, and what is rare commands respect. People lean in when you do not rush to fill the space. They begin to treat your silence like a mirror in which they see themselves more clearly. When silence becomes your language, others learn that not everything will get a response. Not every attempt to shake you will succeed. Not every loud voice will be met with another. And when they learn this, they adjust their tone. The noise lowers. The chaos fades. Respect grows. Not because you demanded it, but because your silence taught them how to speak to you. In silence there is no need for approval, no urge to prove, no weakness to exploit. It is a place where you hold all your power close, where you let the world speak first and reveal itself, while you remain untouched by its attempts. It does not mean you are detached from reality. It means you refuse to let reality dictate your peace. It means you have chosen your dignity over debate, your serenity over struggle, and in doing so, you create an atmosphere around you that others cannot easily disturb. The weight of silence often speaks more than 1,000 words ever could. Where defense can be twisted, silence cannot. Where arguments can be challenged, silence remains untouchable. It reflects strength not through noise but through presence. And because it does not rely on others to be powerful, it cannot be taken away by others. This is why silence speaks louder than defense. It carries the voice of someone who already knows their worth and does not need to spend it proving anything to anyone. Boundaries are not walls built out of fear. They are lines drawn out of self-respect. They are quiet declarations of what you will and will not allow to shape your life. They are not made to control others, but to protect the space where your peace and dignity live. When a person carries boundaries with quiet confidence, they do not need to plead for respect. Their very presence demands it. It is not the loud insistence on being treated well that commands respect, but the silent certainty that you will walk away from what does not honor your worth. Many people seek respect through constant explanations, trying to convince others why they deserve it, But real respect is not begged for, it is commanded by the way you hold yourself. Boundaries are not about trying to change other people's behavior. They are about deciding what behavior will no longer have access to your world. It is not a negotiation but a statement. When someone feels the firmness of your line, they understand the weight of your presence. They sense that there are limits that cannot be crossed without consequence. This is where respect begins to grow. Not through demands, but through quiet strength. Boundaries shape how the world treats you. When you are clear with yourself about what is acceptable, others begin to mirror that clarity. People learn through response. If you allow disrespect, it continues. If you meet it with silence and distance, it ends. If you speak once and hold to your boundary without bending, the world adjusts. It is not about being hard or cold, it is about honoring the space you inhabit. A person who respects their own boundaries teaches everyone around them how to treat them. This kind of strength is not loud. It does not come with grand declarations or emotional outbursts. It lives in quiet consistency. You do not need to raise your voice when your boundaries speak for you. The energy of certainty is louder than any argument. People feel it when they encounter someone who has decided that their peace is non-negotiable. They test less. They speak differently. They measure their steps more carefully, not because you threaten them, but because your boundaries made the rules clear without a single plea. Boundaries are also deeply connected to self-worth. If you do not see your own value, you will allow the world to walk past your lines. You will keep bending to be liked, adjusting to be accepted, and shrinking to avoid conflict. But when you see your worth, you no longer offer your energy to what drains it. You stop explaining your standards. You stop trying to prove why you deserve basic respect. You simply live it, and when you live it, others either rise to meet it or fall away. Boundaries do not push away what is right for you, they filter out what is not. The strength of boundaries lies in their quietness. Loud defenses often come from insecurity, but silent certainty comes from knowing. When you hold your boundaries calmly, you do not need to convince anyone to honor them. Their reaction to your boundary reveals their respect for you. Those who truly value you adjust. Those who do not were never meant to stay. This quiet clarity saves you from endless explanations and wasted energy. People respect what they cannot move easily. When your boundaries are clear and firm, others understand that they cannot simply manipulate you with pressure, emotion, or noise. They learn quickly that your kindness is not weakness, and your silence is not surrender. It is power held close, not needing to prove itself. Boundaries give shape to your presence, and presence is what commands respect long before words are spoken. Setting boundaries also removes the need to defend yourself constantly. When your lines are clear, your energy is preserved. You do not need to fight every battle because most battles end before they begin. People who see a firm boundary instinctively know where they stand. There is no space for repeated disrespect, no room for manipulation, no fuel for unnecessary conflict. This quiet clarity is what gives boundaries their strength. It is not about controlling others. Boundaries are about mastering your own space. You cannot control how someone behaves, but you can control what you allow to continue. This is the power of walking away without noise. The boundary is the quiet message that says, "This is where my respect for myself lives." And when people encounter that, they either align with it or remove themselves from it. Both outcomes serve your peace. Many misunderstand boundaries as cruelty, but they are in truth a form of kindness to yourself and to others. They remove confusion. They create structure. They let others know exactly where they stand with you. This honesty earns more respect than forced niceness ever could. People may not always like your boundaries, but they will learn to respect them. Boundaries also teach you to stop over-explaining. When you trust your own worth, you stop trying to justify your decisions to those who do not value them. You learn to let your silence and your actions speak. You realize that respect is not built on endless justification, but on quiet consistency. You do not need to prove why your line exists. The line itself is enough. When boundaries are clear, your energy becomes focused. You stop scattering it across meaningless exchanges. You stop letting every voice reach your ears. You become deliberate in who and what you give your attention to. This focus creates an atmosphere around you, an invisible structure that others can feel. It tells them, without words, that your peace is sacred ground. People do not trample where they sense strength. The beauty of strong boundaries is that they do not require aggression. They are firm but not harsh, quiet but unyielding. They are simply there, like the edge of a cliff, clear, undeniable, and respected by anyone who approaches. The power of a boundary is not in how loudly you declare it, but in how consistently you hold it. It is this consistency that turns a line into a law in the minds of others. When others see that your boundaries do not move with their emotions, their respect for you grows. They may push once, but when they find no weakness in the line, they step back. People may not always say it aloud, but they admire firmness. They respect what cannot be shaken. They trust what stands without wavering. Boundaries give them something solid to recognize, something unchanging in a world full of shifting sands. Boundaries also strengthen your relationship with yourself. Every time you honor your lines, you tell yourself that your peace matters. Every time you choose your dignity over pleasing others, you grow taller inside. Over time, your energy begins to carry a quiet authority. Others sense it and respond. Respect begins with how you treat yourself, and boundaries are the clearest expression of that self-respect. Even silence becomes more powerful when it rests on strong boundaries. It is not the silence of avoidance, but the silence of someone who knows their worth and refuses to waste it on what does not align. When your boundaries are firm, you no longer explain, chase, or convince. You simply exist within your own structure, and the world organizes itself around it. Those who truly value you will never be threatened by your boundaries. They will see them as a reflection of strength, not distance. Those who cannot respect them will fall away, leaving only what is aligned with your worth. This is how respect grows naturally, not through force, not through persuasion, but through the steady presence of someone who knows where their lines are drawn and never moves them for noise. Boundaries are not armor to keep the world out. They are anchors that keep you from drifting into spaces where your peace is not honored. They allow you to remain soft without being stepped on, kind without being used, present without being drained. This is the quiet power of someone who commands respect without needing to ask for it. It lives in the way they hold their space, in the way they do not chase, in the way they do not allow anyone to redraw their lines. Boundaries speak louder than demands because they show, without words, exactly where strength begins.
Tomorrow after 3 p.m. the heavens shall open their gates of favor. If you affirm yes, if you agree with divine law, if you align with truth, if you speak the word that says, "It is done unto me now," then so it shall be. Let no fear, no doubt, no appearance shake your faith. For the law does not ask when, it simply waits for your command. And your command, spoken with unwavering belief, shifts all forces to work in your favor. The moment you say yes, you open the floodgates of divine timing. The angels of abundance stand ready. The winds of opportunity begin to stir, and the unseen hands start moving pieces into place. It is not by might nor by struggle, but by the Spirit that your luck shall arrive. What man calls luck, Spirit calls alignment. You must see it now in the mind's eye. You must declare it before you see the outer evidence. That is faith. That is power. That is the game of life, and you have just chosen to win. Say yes, and say it with conviction. Say yes, and release all resistance. Say yes, and rest in divine expectancy. For the law of prosperity does not delay, it waits for your clear word. And your word is a wand, it is a decree. Say yes, and at 3 p.m. tomorrow, prepare for the greatest turning point in the history of your destiny. Your word is your wand. You speak, and the universe listens. You affirm, and the divine begins its perfect work. Tomorrow after 3 p.m., the gates of favor will open if you simply say yes. Yes to the good. Yes to the increase. Yes to the harmony that is already yours in spirit. There is no power in delay. There is only power in the now. And the moment you speak the word, the vibration is set in motion. Nothing can stop it, because nothing can stop divine law. Your word is your wand, and the wand works when the hand is steady. The hand is steady when the mind is quiet. The mind is quiet when the heart is sure. So be still now and be sure. Be sure that what you seek is already seeking you. Be sure that what you ask for has already been given. Be sure that divine substance is already swirling around you, shaping itself into form through your belief. You need not see it. You need not touch it. You only need to know. You say yes, and it is done. You say yes, and the way is prepared. You say yes, and the hour of 3 p.m. becomes a sacred appointment with your highest good. Not because of the number, not because of the clock, but because your word has claimed it, your word has blessed it, your word has made it so. And when the word is spoken with faith, it becomes law. You do not beg for luck. You do not chase luck. You become one with divine favor. You affirm your oneness with good, and good must respond. It is the law. It is written. It is eternal. The moment you say yes, you step out of the fog of fear and into the sunlight of certainty. You are no longer waiting. You are preparing your thoughts, preparing your emotions, preparing your space to receive more than you have ever imagined. Your word is ever imagined. Your word is your wand. So speak life, speak grace, speak increase, speak joy, speak yes. Yes, it is coming. Yes, it is mine. Yes, I am ready. Yes, I am worthy. Yes, it is already here. Repeat it softly. Repeat it boldly. Repeat it with love. Let the vibration of your yes echo in the silence. Let it ring through the ethers. Let it fill every corner of your being. For spirit does not hear the noise of the world. Spirit hears the vibration of truth. And the truth is, you are one with divine timing. You are one with divine wisdom. You are one with the luck that is not random but written. Say yes and keep saying yes. Yes to the appointment. Yes to the unfolding. Yes to the surprise. Yes to the miracle. Tomorrow after 3 p.m. is not just a time on the clock. It is the moment your belief meets manifestation. Your yes becomes the doorway. Your yes becomes the key. Your yes becomes the light that turns everything on. And it was never about chance. It was always about choice. You choose it now. You say yes now. You hold your wand now. The unseen forces move when you move in faith. They do not move by fear. They do not move by worry. They do not respond to panic. They move when you are still inside and certain. They move when you trust what cannot be seen. They move when you walk, not by sight, but by inner vision. Tomorrow, after 3 p.m., the unseen forces will align, not because of chance, but because you aligned first. You believed first. You said yes first. You moved first in the spirit, and the outer must now follow. The moment you said yes, the invisible gears began to turn. The quiet hands of the universe started arranging people, situations, resources, answers, all in your favor. You may not see it with your eyes. You may not hear it with your ears, but you feel it. You feel the shift. You feel the gentle nudge that something is coming, something beautiful, something long awaited. That feeling is not fantasy. It is the whisper of truth. It is the movement of the unseen. Do not question how. Do not wonder when. Do not look around. Look within. Look within where the divine spark lives. Look within where your word was spoken. Look within where your yes was planted like a seed. That seed is growing, and the unseen forces are watering it. You do not see the root breaking open. You do not see the soil parting, but it is happening. It is unfolding. It is moving forward on your behalf. You say yes, and the universe says yes back. You speak yes, and the forces rush to obey. You believe, and all things begin to shift, not slowly, not eventually, but now in divine timing. in divine order, in divine perfection. Nothing is out of place. Nothing is missing. Nothing is delayed, because the law works, because faith works, because spirit is never still when the soul is surrendered. So you relax, you trust, you let go of the pushing, you let go of the figuring, you let go of the needing. You simply stay in the yes, the quiet, calm, steady yes. The yes that says, I know it's coming. The yes that says, I don't need to see to believe. The yes that says, the moment I moved in faith, the forces moved for me, and they are still moving. Even now, even in the silence, even while you rest, let it move, let it unfold, let it arrive. You are not the maker of miracles. You are the receiver. You are not the force. You are the vessel. You are not the one who arranges it all. You are the one who allows it all. And you allow it through faith. You allow it through peace. You allow it through your unshakable, unwavering yes. Luck is not chance. It is alignment with spiritual law. It is not a roll of the dice. It is not an accident. It is not given to some and withheld from others. It is a reflection of your inner agreement with truth. It is a mirror of your belief. It is the effect of your cause. You align with the law, and the law works for you. You step into harmony with divine principle, and what seemed like luck is simply law in motion. There is no luck outside the law. There is no luck that stands apart from spiritual order. You say yes to the law, and the law says yes to you. That is alignment. That is the miracle. That is the secret to what others call fortune. You understand now that what is called luck is not a gift given at random. It is the outpicturing of inner certainty. It is the reward of silent faith. It is the echo of the soul that dares to agree with the unseen. You align by your thoughts. You align by your words. You align by your emotions. When your thoughts speak of increase, when your words agree with divine supply, when your emotions rest in trust, you have aligned. And when you have aligned, there is nothing left to chase. No need to run. No need to beg. The thing you desire finds you. It locates you. Because you have made yourself visible to it. You have stepped into its path by way of agreement. Spiritual law is always at work. It never stops. It never takes a break. It is impersonal. It is precise. It is eternal. And it cannot be fooled. You cannot speak words of faith and carry feelings of fear. You cannot affirm yes and secretly expect no. The law hears what is underneath. The law obeys the vibration, not the vocabulary. That is why you must become the yes. Not just say it. Become it. Live it. Feel it. Rest in it. Breathe in it. You are aligning now. Every breath you take with calm, every thought you offer in love, every moment you choose trust over tension, you are aligning. You are not trying to be lucky. You are becoming ready. And when you are ready, what you want appears as if by magic. But it is not magic. It is the law. Luck becomes your constant companion when alignment becomes your natural state. Not because you force it, but because you flow. Not because you demand it, but because you allow. Tomorrow after 3 p.m., luck becomes visible, but it has already begun moving. The moment you said yes, you stepped into alignment. And alignment always leads to demonstration. Always. That is not a maybe. That is a law. You keep your mind on the good. You keep your heart open to more. You keep your words soaked in yes. That is how you stay aligned. That is how you walk in luck. That is how you stand in the center of favor. You do not need to wonder if it's coming. You do not need to beg for evidence. You just need to stay. Stay in the yes. Stay in the peace. Stay in the knowing that the law works perfectly for those who agree with it. You are not hoping anymore. You are choosing. You are not wishing anymore. You are aligning. You are not chasing anymore. You are magnetizing. You are not waiting in fear. You are preparing in faith. Because the moment you said yes, something began to happen. You may not have seen it, but you felt it. And what you feel when grounded in truth is more real than what you see. The law does not fail. The law does not forget. forget. The law fulfills every yes that is true, every word that is rooted in divine confidence. Tomorrow after 3 p.m. is not about the time. It is about the timing that was set in motion the moment your heart aligned, the timing that was born when you agreed with your own good, the timing that now leads you straight into the blessing, not by accident, but by alignment. And now you rest in that alignment. The moment you affirm, the door swings wide to miracles. It does not open slowly. It does not creak with hesitation. It swings wide. It moves with certainty. Because the moment you say yes, not from the lips, but from the soul, the universe has its signal. The law has its instruction. Spirit has its permission. You do not need to force it. You do not need to beg for it. You only need to know. And in that knowing, the door is already opening. Miracles do not come to those who plead. They come to those who prepare. You prepare by believing. You prepare by relaxing. You prepare by allowing. You say yes, and the way is made. You say yes, and the walls fall down. You say yes, and the delay dissolves. The miracle is not waiting for you to prove yourself. It is waiting for you to agree. Agree that it is possible. Agree that it is ready. Agree that you are worthy. And the moment your spirit agrees, the outer world reflects it. You are not here to knock and wait and knock again. You are here to speak, and the door shall open. That is a promise. That is a law. That is the way of divine order. Miracles do not break the rules of life. They fulfill them. They are not interruptions. They are corrections. They return your life to the harmony it was meant to live in. You affirm yes, and everything not in harmony begins to move. People begin to shift. Doors begin to unlock. Time begins to bend. Because the law must obey a word spoken in faith. You do not need to understand how. You do not need to draw the mat. The moment you affirm, the path appears, and where there once was no way, a way is made. Where there once was resistance, there is now release. Where there once was silence, there is now movement. You affirm, and the law takes over. Not to punish, not to test, but to deliver. It always delivers what you truly believe. And your yes is now rooted in truth. So say it again. Say yes to healing. Say yes to wealth. Say yes to the breakthrough. Say yes to the call. Say yes to what feels too good to be true. Because in spirit, it is not too good. It is just right. It is just in time. It is just the next step of what your soul always knew was coming. The door swings wide because you stopped doubting. The door swings wide because you stopped hesitating. The door swings wide because your yes became real, not loud, not dramatic, just real, quiet, strong, steady, real. That kind of yes moves mountains. That kind of yes draws favor. That kind of yes makes you a vessel of divine flow. And now you do not chase miracles. You become the space where miracles land. You become the ground where miracles are planted. You become the one who expects without explaining, who trusts without tension, who allows without trying. Tomorrow after 3 p.m., the door will not creak open slowly. It will swing wide, not because of the clock, but because of your word. Not because of the hour, but because of your heart. The law does not wait for permission from the world. It waits for your agreement. And the moment you affirm, the moment you open your arms wide, the miracle that has always been circling now has a place to land. Let it land. Let it find you. Let it flood in. You have said yes, and the door is wide open. Divine substance rushes in, fulfill the mold of your belief. It does not hesitate. It does not question. It rushes, like water to an open vessel, like light into a dark room, like breath into empty lungs. The moment your belief becomes clear, the invisible begins to form itself around that belief. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now, in the eternal now where all power lives. You have made the mold with your word. You have shaped it with your thoughts. You have softened it with your faith. And now the divine fills it. There is no scarcity in spirit. There is no delay in truth. There is Only the mold and the substance, the belief and the demonstration, the affirmation and the arrival. You need not chase divine substance. You need not plead for it. You only need to prepare the mold of conviction, the mold of clarity, the mold of expectation. When your mold is ready, the supply appears, not because you earned it, not because you proved yourself worthy, but because it was always waiting for your belief to take shape. You are not shaping with worry. You are not molding with fear. You are creating with love, with confidence, with surrender. You are no longer holding on tight. You are opening wide. You are no longer asking when. You are knowing now. You are no longer waiting for signs. You are becoming the sign. The moment you said yes, you gave the divine substance a path, a place, a pattern to follow, and the universe never fails to respond to a true mold. You are molding in stillness. You are molding in joy. You are molding in peace. And every quiet moment you spend in trust, the mold becomes more detailed. Every word you speak in gratitude makes it stronger. Every thought you think with assurance makes it clearer. You are not hoping for a miracle. You are shaping the form it will take. Divine substance is listening. Divine substance is responding. Divine substance is rushing. It does not trickle. It does not crawl. It rushes. It moves fast when the way is clear. It moves freely when the doubt is gone. It moves powerfully when the heart is in alignment. So you let go of the question. You let go of the doubt. You let go of the trying, and you return to the yes. The simple, steady yes, the yes that shapes, the yes that builds, the yes that fills your life with invisible answers made visible. The mold is made of faith. The mold is made of imagination. The mold is made of repetition. You speak your yes again and again and again, and the mold becomes real. It becomes strong. It becomes ready. And when it is ready, the divine does not hold back. It floods in. It pours in. It rushes in. The supply does not wait. It moves the moment your belief becomes firm. You are shaping something beautiful. You are making space for something sacred. You are preparing the ground for something more than enough. You are no longer looking outside for proof. You are building it within, and as within, so without. As you believe, so it is done. As you expect, so it appears. The law does not fail. The law does not sleep. The law fills the mold without effort, without mistake, without delay. So rest in your yes. Breathe in your yes. Yes. Let your yes be the container. Let your yes be the invitation. Let your yes be the mold. And trust that divine substance is already moving, already forming, already arriving. It has no choice. It obeys the mold. And the mold is already yours. What you expect with confidence manifests with power. Not with force, not with struggle, not with resistance, but with power. Quiet power, steady power, divine power. The moment you begin to expect, not wish, not wonder, but truly expect, you send out a signal stronger than words, louder than action. That signal moves through the ethers. It rearranges substance. It calls things forth. It draws the invisible into form. Expectation is not hope. Expectation is knowing. It is the sacred calm of one who has already received in spirit. It is the stillness of one who no longer asks if, but simply prepares for when. It is the certainty of one who understands that the law of manifestation answers not doubt, but confidence. What you expect with confidence does not wander. It arrives. It does not delay. It obeys. It does not hesitate. It flows. You expect, and the world shifts to meet you. You expect, and the doors open before your hand touches the knob. You expect, and you become magnetic. Not to chaos, not to lack, but to every good and perfect thing that matches your vibration. And the vibration of confidence is unmatched. It is quiet, but unshakable. It is calm, but unstoppable. It does not shout. It does not plead. It simply knows. And because it knows, it receives. Confidence is not pride. Confidence is not noise. Confidence is alignment with divine truth. It is the inner agreement that says, it is already mine in spirit. It is already done in the unseen. It is already unfolding, and I am simply stepping into it. I do not chase it. I do not fight for it. I meet it because I expect it. I walk toward it because I know it has already been prepared for me. There is no delay in spirit. There is no limit in divine supply. There is only belief. There is only expectation. There is only agreement with law. And the more you expect, the more the law responds. It must. It has no choice. What you confidently expect becomes the mold. And that mold cannot remain empty. It must be filled. It must be fulfilled. It must be made visible, because spirit does not tease. Spirit does not tempt. Spirit completes every picture drawn in true belief. So you expect. You wake up with expectation. With it, you walk through your day, you breathe with expectation, you speak in expectation, you rest in expectation, and that expectation begins to clothe itself. It begins to take form. It begins to become real in your world, just as it has been real in your spirit. Tomorrow after 3 p.m., the moment you meet with your good is not just a lucky hour. It is the hour your expectation ripens. It is the hour your vibration becomes visible. It is the hour where what has been quietly forming now loudly appears. You do not need to force it. You do not need to control it. You only need to hold your confidence like a torch, not to see the entire path, but to light the next step, and the next, and the next. What you expect with confidence manifests with power, not the power of pressure, but the power of peace, not the power of striving, but the power of surrender. You do not need to know how. You only need to trust you only need to trust the mold. You only need to trust the law that has never failed and will not start now. And now you rest. You release. You receive. You allow. You expect, not with tight fists, but with open hands. You expect, not with noise, but with quiet certainty. You expect, not from lack, but from wholeness. And so it is done. Not by effort, but by agreement, not by force, but by flow, not by luck, but by law. I now seal it with truth. I now affirm with stillness. I now rest in the divine certainty that it is already done. I do not chase, I attract. I do not worry, I welcome. I do not hope, I expect. My yes has opened the gate. My word has made the way. My belief has formed the mold. And divine substance is now rushing in to fill it. I walk in alignment. I walk in agreement. I walk in quiet confidence that what is mine cannot miss me. It is drawn to me by law. It is brought to me by faith. It is shaped for me by spirit. I expect with peace. I receive with ease. I allow with joy. I am not preparing for disappointment. I am preparing for demonstration. I am not wondering when. I am trusting now. I am not afraid of delay. I am rooted in divine timing. I say yes again. I say yes again. I say yes again. Yes to increase. Yes to overflow. Yes to the miracle. Yes to the moment. Yes to 3 p.m. tomorrow, not as a time on the clock, but as the unfolding of divine appointment. It is written. It is promised. It is law. The door is open. The way is clear. The unseen has become seen. The invisible has become visible. My expectation has become form. My peace has become power. My yes has become reality. And I now live in the center of it all. It is done. It is done. It is done.